TGT. What the world is watching.
My God, I'm not Frank Bruno. I am, however, your Muppet Man. In today's special edition of Top Guy Theater, we'll do a double celebration of sorts. One of our co-hosts, by the time this ultimately reaches air, our good friend Antonio Santos will have reached 1 year of sobriety come this coming Tuesday. We're recording today, November the 13th. We are exactly 16 years on from the death of one of the greatest superstars to ever wrestle in the squared circle, Mr. Eddie Guerrero. In light of that and in celebration of Antonio's milestone, I have put together a show today containing what I hope are some of Eddie Guerrero's best matches, and I want to share them all with you, our Top Guy family. And away we go. Welcome, one and all, to this special episode of Top Guy Theater. I am the Muppet Man, and Frank Bruno made the mistake today of making me the host. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him in the ass. And we are joined this afternoon probably by a bunch of different run-ins. I don't know how Phil planned out this part of the show, and unfortunately for us, because of family emergency, Phil is unable to be here today, but we do send best wishes to his wife in the hopes that she has a speedy recovery. So I'm going to start with the way that I'm looking at my screen. In addition to our co-host friend and today my producer, Mr. Frank Bruno. How are you today, Frank?
I thought Phil was still having a colon problem, and I'm surprised to see Pondwater Dave. I thought he was still held up at some hotel in Chicago. I don't think I've talked to him since Top Guy Weekend, so I'm glad to see that you're alive and well, my friend.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me here today.
That was some shit, brother. It was a good damn time.
Yeah, y'all have to tell me about it. I don't remember.
I know you don't.
Well, thank God that
the irony of having me on this show today.
Just a little bit of filler for what will hopefully be a fantastic show. We've also got joining us today, live from what I think is the basement of my old house, Mr. Michael McClanahan. Mike, how are you?
I'm great, Henry, and I'm not at your old house. I'm in my office at my house.
Does your office happen to be like a wood-paneled 70s basement? Because that would just be fantastic.
There's actually wood paneling on the ceiling. When we built the house, that's how we did it years and years ago. So the wood paneling you're seeing is the wood paneling from the ceiling.
It gives me vibes of when I moved downstairs into my old house, and well, you all see the picture in the intro. It looks like that old 1970s Brady Bunch basement. And a surprise I can't say that I was expecting today. Joining us from his beautifully appointed estate out in the middle of nowhere in Indiana, the host of the Filter Free Podcast, Mr. TJ Stevens. TJ, my friend, how are you?
Henry, I am fabulous. Antonio.
Yes.
You love to talk some smack on Twitter. Love it. But still a big fan. Congratulations on a year, buddy. I'm proud of you. Looking forward to today.
Thank you, buddy.
How are you, Antonio?
I am tired, and I am tired. But I'm good.
So, for those of you out there listening, the show that I've put together today takes 5 Eddie Guerrero matches as well as the promo from the Go Home SmackDown before our main event of the day. And it begins today with a WCW produced show, Triple A's When Worlds Collide from 1994. The main event of that card, I had to write this down. I'm probably going to butcher a couple of these names. Eddie Guerrero and Art Barr are teaming up to take on El Hijo del Santo and Octagon in a mask versus hair match.
Sweet.
That, however, unfortunately, I don't think was ever on the WWE Network, which means it never migrated over to Peacock. However, thank you, Frank. If you're watching us and follow the link at the bottom of the screen, you can follow along with all of us as we watch our first match of the evening. We also have entries today from Extreme Championship Wrestling, from WWE, from WCW, and a match that I found while doing my research that I didn't realize existed from the very first Ring of Honor show, with Ring of Honor preparing to shut down for at least 3 months come the end of next month. I thought it was kind of poignant that we cover something from Ring of Honor. But anyway.
So real quick, Matt, we have before we watch this match, I have a few videos and we have our first run-in. So we're gonna join Adam from Bama is here to show his love today.
Hey!
What's going on, buddy? Where are you? Are you in the back of your what are you doing? Where are you? What is going on?
I'm at work right now.
Oh, okay.
But I wanted to at least step out real quick and say, Antonio, congratulations, brother.
Oh, thank you.
It's hard. I know how hard the first year is. I've been down that road, and I just celebrated 8.5 years myself. So I know the struggle, man, and it's real. And I appreciate you, man. And congratulations, brother.
No problem, buddy. Thank you.
How's everybody else doing?
I'm fat and old. Other than that.
Adam from Bama coming to us live from his '88 Pontiac Fiero. Adam, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
It's an 02. It's an 02.
It's an 02. My God.
02. Yeah.
It's probably waiting for some women.
Probably.
Oh, that's classified.
No, Jesus.
And do you know that war story I was telling you about a while back?
We lost it. Who muted him? Who muted him?
I don't have the power, but I think he's doing that on purpose. It's part of his gimmick.
You muted yourself. You shithead. I forgot about that. Oh man.
When he tells that story about the time he got lucky in Jacksonville, he just kind of shuts off the sound and just keeps talking and talking and talking. And since no one can read lips that fast, no one really knows if he's fucking with us or if he's telling one hell of a story or not, really.
We all know he's waiting for Charlotte Flair. That's who he's trying to go find.
I wondered how long that would take, Money Mike.
I'm going back to work after that one.
All right, brother. Thank you for stopping by.
Hey, guys.
Bye, Adam.
Good to see you, Adam.
Love you guys.
I just come. Sorry, cut you off. Real quick, 2 quick videos for you. We've got this is for Antonio. Real quick.
Hey, this is going to you, Antonio Santos. I want to congratulate you, my man, on 1 year of sobriety. Phil reached out and asked if I could share something for you, and absolutely want to do that. Sorry I couldn't run in. I hope he explained. I've got daddy daycare this weekend. The wife is out enjoying herself, but I wanted to be a part of this and make sure that you know that I am so very proud of you. That takes a lot of hard work. I can't imagine what it's like to go through what you've gone through. But, man, you've done it. 1 year. I'm very proud of you. I mean, thank you for everything. You are hilarious, and you and I share a few things in common, our love for certain podcasts and our disdain for others. But, man, I'm so very proud of you. Keep sending in all the cool stuff for the Monday mailbag. Got lots of your questions in for the one that's about to drop this Monday, the 15th. We love it, Roseanne. So anyway, hey, man, congrats once again. Sorry I couldn't be there. My hands are full, but, man, just wanted to say I'm very proud of you, buddy. All right? Take care, and I hope you guys have a great show.
Sweet.
What beautiful running. One last one from the man who, listen, he says it's for his wife, but I still think he's Colin's on the men. So hang on a second.
Hey, what's up, Antonio? So sorry I couldn't make it today, man. Wife's still recovering from surgery, so I gotta make sure she's doing well. But dude, I am so proud of you for 1 year of sobriety. I arranged a bunch of surprises for you today. I hope you have a good show, and I'm again terribly sorry I can't make it. But man, I am so proud of you. Keep it up, man. Let's do this again in another year. I can't wait to celebrate your next year of sobriety. Catch you on the flip side.
Sweet.
You know, that probably would have worked out better, Frank, in hindsight, if you'd played Phil's before Paul's. But those were both beautiful anyway.
It's like a Rampage episode. The big thing at first.
Damn, I thought you left.
Oh no, I'm just listening to you guys. Y'all go ahead.
Oh, all right. Do you want to stay here until you go back to work? It doesn't matter to me.
I mean, that's up to y'all. I mean, I got about 10, 15 more minutes.
You're welcome to stay with us if you want.
I'm just enjoying the show, guys. That's gonna be part of it.
All right. Do you want Henry? Do you want to get going on this first match?
I do, but before we do that, there was one person that was with our main block when we started. We didn't actually get to introduce. Amy, can you actually hear us now?
Yes, I can.
How are you?
I am doing very well. How are you all?
I'm live. I imagine that counts for something, right?
I like where that seatbelt is positioned.
Do what?
Oh,
You are nothing but a dirty old man, Antonio, and I love you very much for that.
And we're off
And
the
with
rails
that-
already, folks.
Am I the only one that noticed that he ramped up after sobriety?
Yes, he totally
I
did.
didn't want to say that.
No,
Yeah,
I'm serious. Antonio
And you know
probably
what?
caught.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying Antonio probably caught up on Pornhub before he did ad-free shows.
Oh, yeah.
I got to know the answer to that question. Did you catch up on all the porn on the internet before you joined us over at AFS, Antonio, or is that just a weird rumor?
I don't remember. I probably did. That's probably explained gold plaque I got.
I don't know where to take that. So I'm
Did you
gonna let
wash
that
it
go.
before you hung it up?
Well, there's a,
He's looking. Oh my god.
It's a yes or no question. This is taking way too long.
this is there's a reason why Courtney always says slicker than come on the gold tooth.
Oh, I hate when he says that. Gag.
Got to keep that shine, you know.
Glad I ate before we started because I'm not hungry anymore. Damn it. I think with that, I think I want to get into the show. Our AAA When Worlds Collide match. Frank's got the banner up on the bottom of the screen. That and our Ring of Honor presentation a little bit later in the show are both going to be on YouTube. Everything else is going to be on Peacock. But for now, let's get fired up. This will start right at the beginning at all zeros. And when I say 3, 2, 1, play, because apparently I don't know how to work the electronics in my house today, this decided to take off on its own. We'll all take off and watch the first match together. Everybody ready?
Got it.
I'm ready.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh my goodness. And there you go. I don't know how to turn my stuff.
There's a little button next to the.
I have never seen this match, so I'm really excited to see this.
I've never seen it either.
What's funny is it was recorded off of WWE 24/7, but it's not on the network.
I believe that there's a reason for that, and what I think I understand, having done the little bit of research I did for this match. This match comes from AAA's When Worlds Collide, which was a professional wrestling pay-per-view that took place from the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena on November the 6th, 1994. It was put on by the Mexican Lucha Libre company AAA, but was produced by Eric Bischoff's staff from WCW. I believe, memory serves me right, Bischoff has talked about that before. I don't remember if that was an episode in its own right or if someone asked a question in one of those Ask Eric episodes. So I think even though this is a AAA show, this was produced by WCW, which means it's possible that this ended up in the gigantic tape library that Vince McMahon bought for a song way back in 2001. But if AAA owns the rights to the show, it would make sense why WWE never really did anything with it.
Then how did they put it on 24/7? Do you remember?
Magic?
Do you remember you guys did? Yeah. Well, do you remember before the network there was that 24/7 on-demand crap that they did? So and the other thing that gets me about this match is that I didn't realize that. I mean, I'm assuming Corona Extra's a sponsor. I've never seen it where they have the where they have a professional wrestling match with a Corona logo in the middle. Like, I mean, Jesus. I mean, it's pretty cool, and it's Eddie Guerrero, so I don't care. But
I believe this is also the show that got Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho noticed as well, if I remember right.
I think you're right.
Noticed by Eric or noticed by Paul?
By Eric.
But were they in ECW at this point?
They were not. They went from, well, I say they, but I'm going to focus more on Eddie Guerrero. They were both members of AAA, I do believe, at this point. It was this match, I believe, that catapulted them into ECW. It's possible I have my timelines wrong on this. I
think you're right. I think they went to ECW next.
I've never seen a referee wear a white shirt with suspenders.
Yeah, there's another one.
That wasn't a look you ever tried to master pond water?
No. I'm fixing to start up again. Maybe I'll bring that to Mississippi.
I was just going to ask you, Pondwater. I saw that you're going to be doing some reffing soon.
I am. First show is January 15th in Arkansas for Bayou Independent Wrestling.
Awesome! Congrats, Pondwater.
Thank you. I've got January, February, and March booked so far, but I'm back every month with that promotion through the whole year.
I'm sorry, what's it called again?
Bayou Independent Wrestling, BIW.
Do they have an online presence?
They're on Facebook.
Okay, I'll check it out.
And when is your?
I'm trying to. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask Pondwater, if you don't mind. When is your induction into the Texas Wrestling Hall of Fame?
The Thursday night before WrestleMania. It's actually the Southern Wrestling Hall of Fame. It'll be at the Ridgely Theater in Fort Worth, Texas. The Thursday night before WrestleMania.
That's awesome! Congratulations again.
Thank you.
That's awesome, brother. Congratulations.
I appreciate that. I'm really excited. I'm just glad they moved it to WrestleMania weekend. More of my friends will be able to come because it's there.
Nice.
That was probably the most intense frog splash I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess this
one
is
of them.
2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah, I may have forgotten to write that down in my base notes. I forgot that this was a 2 out of 3 falls match.
And I have to say that ring has no give.
No.
I was expecting a little bounce, but good Lord, there was no give at all.
Makes you wonder if the ring equipment got supplied by Vince McMahon.
Mm.
Well, even that ring had a little give to it. The ring that always I felt was like super bouncy was ECW.
Yes.
I
think that was more budgetary than by design.
Okay.
Well, and years ago, weren't they boxing rings before they were the wrestling rings, or did I imagine that? I thought years ago, Kyoto or somebody said they used like boxing rings.
Yes, they're boxing rings, and for wrestling, they put a huge spring in the middle, underneath in the middle.
Pondwater, do they still do that?
I haven't seen one with a spring underneath it since 2005, 2006. When I was with PCW, their ring had a spring underneath it, but when I moved here, once I left Texas, I never saw it again.
There was one thing I did, because again, at this stage in my wrestling fandom, I really love the like how they put it together. So when I was at the Dynamite show a couple of weeks ago in Boston, when they were changing to Rampage, they legitimately took the ring skirt off. You could see right under the ring, and there's a microphone under there. I was very shocked that they didn't even care. So they legitimately had a microphone like kind of hanging down, so that when they hit everything, it would just go. What are you laughing at?
Well, looking under the ring, looking under the skirt, and seeing a microphone there.
All right, did that?
Antonio, I have to say, I think only you would be the person that would put those together.
Doesn't Charlotte Flair keep one under her skirt?
Oh boy!
All right, personal foul, unnecessary bullshit on Adam from Bama.
On the
Oh
topic,
my
though,
God.
Antonio, I myself do just want to say congrats on your year of sobriety, and thank you also for, I've known you for about a year, so thank you for a year of friendship, and you always manage to make me laugh, which I appreciate. And I know I probably drive you crazy, but I do appreciate yours and everybody else's friendship.
No, I'm happy too. Like, as long I give you so much shit, but you were in good spirits about it. That's what I like about you.
Oh, I enjoy it. That's the thing people got to realize. My job and my work keeps me where I'm like straight laced 90% of the time. So I enjoy getting to do this with you guys where I can be a little bit more laid back than I am most times.
Yeah.
How about these standing drop kicks from Art Barr?
Oh, yeah.
And he's actually doing the.
Does he do that? Oh, I got to tell you, I've never seen an Art Barr match. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, unfortunately for Art Barr here, he had already been the juicer in WCW. So
I'm sorry, his name was the what in WCW?
The juicer. It was a spoof off Beetlejuice.
And everyone, I'm assuming that we're not surprised it didn't last.
Well, it was Jim Herb. So yeah.
The fucking juicer. You gotta be kidding.
Sounds like a
Jim Hurd.
And you can hear more of Jim Hurd's ideas on the first conversation with Conrad over at Ad Free Shows.
That was a really good show. I enjoyed that a lot. I
did too.
would.
All right, guys, I want to jump back in the shop. Y'all have a good night, good evening.
All right, behave yourself.
Thank you for joining us, Adam.
Have a good
Antonio,
night.
love you, brother.
I love you too.
See you guys.
See ya.
Since Money Mike brought up ad-free shows anyway, something that I was taking a listen to this morning on my way home is the most recent Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. It's a remix from a show they did way back at the very beginning of the Montreal Screwjob, which takes in new pieces from Monday Mailbag with Mike Chioda, as well as a 90-minute interview with Gerald Briscoe, where he tells his side of the story for what I think is the very first time.
Oh, wow.
I haven't finished the episode yet, but I have to admit that I'm surprised that Conrad got him to sit down and actually do an interview, because I thought other than the major players and Bruce Pritchard, because he wasn't a major player and didn't know it ever happened to begin with, that all of the stories had been told about the Montreal Screwjob.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's the thing. When they do these remix episodes, I'm like, oh, I've heard them all already. Now knowing that, I'm going to be like, what the hell? Because, I mean, obviously, did they just win?
I think so.
This is a 2 out of 3 falls match.
That was the second fall.
But it's still going. What is happening right now? I'm still confused.
I'm lost. I don't understand anymore.
Yeah, that would have been 2 straight.
Yeah. Or is this just extracurricular activities?
I mean, I'm not going to complain. That's fine.
What do you think of the concept of a 2 out of 3 falls match? I've always thought it was kind of too formulaic in that it's usually heel and then 2 babyface falls.
Well, I don't think you're entirely wrong, Money Mike, but I believe it used to be a thing in the NWA specifically before WCW kind of took their belts and just kind of went off on their own, that the main event for a world title was a 2 out of 3 falls match. And I think for something like that, if the story is told right, that it makes for a good match. Otherwise, I think, at least to me, somebody stop me if they think I'm wrong, but without a decent story, a 2 out of 3 falls match just doesn't make any sense.
I agree. It needs to almost be the blow off to the feud, but I think I'd rather see a 2 out of 3 falls than an Iron Man. I've never understood the concept of the Iron Man match.
Well, when I started watching Wrestling 82 on our Saturday Night Wrestling, the television main event was always 2 out of 3 falls. It was pretty common where I was at and in Texas. But looking at it now, all these years later, I just pretty much think it's a way that you can keep both participants strong if both of them can get a fall. I mean, in recent years, WWE's done them with 2 straight falls, so that made no sense. And I don't know if they were just trying to surprise somebody, but if it was a great storytelling mechanism, especially with Harley racing Ric Flair. One time, Flair got Harley in a figure 4, and Harley tapped immediately, and Harley was the champion. But the commentator explained it that Harley didn't want to take on any more damage.
Oh shit!
Because he still had second fall, and then normally it's 1 fall each, and then they might go to the time limit, or you could go 1 fall each. Champion gets disqualified. Belt can't change on a disqualification.
Okay.
All right.
What do you think about? What do you think about the WWE's take on the 2 out of 3 falls, where they've done the 3 stages of hell, where it's a different match stipulation for each of the 3 falls?
I'm not a fan of it because most of the time it never makes any sense what they put together.
I agree.
Well, do you know what it also does? You also know as a fan, I think at least all of us, because we've been fans for so long, that all of the 3, like the third stipulated match is always like the oh my god moment, right? Like, I can't believe they're gonna have that match. So a third fall is gonna happen. You know it's gonna come to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not gonna be a sweep somewhere.
The only time I can think of where that wasn't the case is I believe Triple H beat Austin 2 straight at No Way Out 2001, and I might have that result flipped, but I almost think Triple H won 2 out of 3.
And theirs is the only one I like.
Well, actually, Cesaro and Sami Zayn, one of my favorites.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna tell you one that actually made a lot of sense to me was Demolition and the Hart Foundation SummerSlam 1990. That one made a lot of sense to me. And it was good. It was really, really good. But I'm trying to think of some other 2 out of 3 that made sense to me. And
wasn't one of the matches in the Flair Steamboat trilogy a 2 out of 3 falls
I
match?
think it was.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that would have made sense too. But it's
wasn't the match that Steamboat dropped the title back to Flair? Wasn't that 2 out of 3 falls? Wasn't that wasn't the finale?
Do you happen to remember what show that was, TJ?
I think was it Chi-Town Rumble, the finale?
Oh, we watched that. We've watched that on here. I think we watched it.
It was Nashville. Nashville was the finale, wasn't it?
Yeah, wasn't there judges also in case it?
Yes, we watched that.
That was something that the NWA did that nobody. I don't think that's made a comeback anywhere else, has it?
No,
not that I remember. I remember there was judges at WrestleMania 15 for the Butterbean fight, but that was
portrayed as like a shoot boxing match.
Yeah,
almost
exactly.
So the first match was Chi-Town Rumble, February 20th, 1989.
We have another run-in. Here we go. It's Efren.
Isn't walking down the street with that covering your eyes dangerous?
What's happening?
What do you mean? What happened?
What's happening?
Hey, Efren.
Love Efren.
Where's Mr. Birthday Boy?
Mr. Birthday Boy.
I can't even.
Well,
Birthday Boy meaning 1 year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm right here.
Is he? Okay, yeah. Oh, this is you. Who's he talking about? Oh, me. Hey. Buddy, how does it feel?
Oh, it feels really good right now.
Yeah?
That's because he's getting a Hummer under the desk.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're wonderful. Frank.
Hello, Efren.
Tell me about day one, buddy. 1 year ago today. You woke up and what?
I was, let's see.
If you want to talk about it. Because let me tell you, man, I'm so proud of you. You're such an inspiration. Every time I see you on screen, the first thing that pops into my head, there's a non-alcoholic right there.
Yep.
I don't care The day you said, I'm going to start drinking, is the day you became a non-alcoholic. Our day. I've never seen you as a recovering. You made the decision the second you stopped.
Oh yeah.
Every time I look at you, I go, there's a man who's a non-alcoholic. I'm so proud of you, man. Tell me about day one.
I woke up. This was like
Correct. Oh, go ahead.
It was a day after was it my chat back live? I noticed myself like just embarrassed myself. Then I told everybody on TGT when TJ was there and everybody what I was about to do. Then it just went from there.
You embarrassed yourself. You mean you fell asleep with all the lights on like I did on my first time on one of those chats? Hey.
Oh yeah. No, I think I was trying to intimidate Stone Cold by pouring beer on me and whatever and slurring and all that.
I do remember that.
Well, if you
I
want
don't
to do that
remember
to me,
who-
I'll pay you to do that, Antonio.
I don't remember who exactly was on the show, but I just remember me just embarrassing myself. And I'm like, enough is enough. And then just went was it outpatient, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then just took it from there.
1 year is a big deal. 1 year, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 6 months. You made it.
Oh,
You made it. It is.
First couple months
The
was a
day you
pain.
said, right.
Yeah.
Right. And I always say, if I say, okay, I'm going to stop destroying myself with this today. Yes, that's good for me. Everyone around me doesn't see that. It's not a matter of that day. It's a matter of what you do a week, a month, 3 months, or in this case, 1 year. You are not the same person you were a year ago. I hope none of us are. I hope we're better. You have shown, man.
Yeah.
You're a rock, man. I'm so proud of you. It is not easy. It is hard. It is hard. But now you can be around that stuff now and say, look at me, I'm not that person anymore, right?
Oh yeah. Like everybody, I can see people drinking and that won't bother me.
Right. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for having me on, man. This is such an honor. This is such an honor. I wouldn't miss it. I'm so great, and a lot of great people here. I love you guys. I'm so grateful for you.
Hey, thank you.
You are my good intention today, man. I love you. I love you. Keep making people laugh from, I can't say it. You know what I mean, Antonio. Okay?
Yeah.
I love you guys. Love you. Love you.
Right back
Love
at you, brother.
Thank you, brother. I'm so happy for it. So honored. Congratulations.
Love you, Efren.
All right, brother.
I'm confused as to why there's all these stretchers. Is the match over?
I believe we've reached the end of the match, and they're taking one of the wrestlers back to an ambulance. I'll be honest, I watched some of these. I didn't watch others because I'd never seen this one before. Kind of like our recent episode of Halloween Havoc 99, where Sid comes out to the ring for that U.S. title match, and none of us can figure out why the hell he's bleeding. This is the very first time I'm seeing this, so I actually have no idea what the hell is going on.
Well, that just means he pulled a Goldberg, doesn't it? Remember the time Goldberg banged his head against the door and was bleeding during that promo?
While we were all listening to Efren, it looked like, I'm not sure which one he is. It looked like he got thrown out of the ring and took a particularly nasty bump. Because it looked like for a little bit there, the paramedics and the EMTs had come out during the match.
That's Octagon, by the way.
Thank you, TJ.
So I looked up the Flair Steamboat trilogy. The first match was Chi-Town Rumble. the second match, and this was the 2 out of 3 falls, which is weird. It was Clash of the Champions 6 Raging Cajun. And the third match of the trilogy was Wrestle War in Nashville. So there you go.
And we watched Wrestle War on a recent Top Guy Theater with
with Eddie. Yeah, Eddie. Right. That's when I was in Seattle. Yep. Henry, do you want to go to the Peacock match now, or?
I believe we've reached the end of this match. Yeah, the only thing that's left is for the winners to shave the heads of the losers, which I suppose we don't particularly need. Of note, I believe this would be Art Barr's final professional wrestling match before he would pass away. A couple of weeks from this, he passed away of a heart attack that was caused by a drug overdose on November 23rd of 1994.
Jesus.
Which unfortunately cut this is the first, and I think, to the best of my knowledge, the only Art Bar match I've ever seen. And it wasn't a bad match. And now we make our way over to the cock.
Well, can we shave your head first, Henry? Put like a little maple leaf on the back.
I mean, we don't really have that kind of time today, Antonio, but I can't say that I'm terribly opposed to that idea. Maybe someday. But you're going to have to catch me first.
Okay.
ECW's Hostile City Showdown, which should be season 2. Did I say shitty? I meant to say
Hostile Shitty.
What is it called? ECW what?
ECW Hostile City Showdown.
Okay,
it's from 1995. It should be season 2, episode 1 for those of you watching along on Peacock, because
95?
1995, Pondwater.
Gotcha.
Once you've opened that up, go to 35 minutes, 48 seconds. That will take us to the start of a match for the ECW World Television Championship between the man of 1,000 holds, that motherfucker Dean Malenko, and Eddie Guerrero.
What year was that again? I apologize.
1995.
Oh,
what?
The year I was born. Thank you.
Oh, fuck you.
What's the time code?
35 minutes, 48 seconds.
35 minutes, 48.
Got it.
What the hell is this monitor doing?
What was it again? I'm sorry. What was the time code?
35 minutes, 48 seconds.
Thank
Here
you.
we go. 35, 48. Yeah. All right, cool. I got it.
Come on.
Boom. There it is. All right. I have never seen this show before. I didn't even realize it was on here.
Give me just a second here to get.
Gosh, look at that ring. I see what you mean by it has a little extra spring to it.
Yeah. It always seemed.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm excited for this. Believe it or not, my exposure to ECW was WWE ECW. I've never actually watched a lot of traditional ECW.
If you're one of the people that's going to join us and watch along as you listen to us, if you're looking for like a traditional blood and guts, going through tables, barbed wire, everything ECW match, I will tell you right now that this ain't it. This actually, to me, was kind of surprising in the amount of technical wrestling that we have between these two superstars. And it's this match in a series of them between Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko that gets them noticed by Eric Bischoff and brings them to World Championship Wrestling, I believe in 1996. But if everybody's at the starting point.
Yeah. I'm so glad Amy didn't have a wreck. I was wondering when she left it. That was awful abrupt.
All right.
I like the view.
My gosh.
I'm talking about the sky, Frank. I'm talking about the sky, Frank.
You are a dirty, dirty old man, Antonio Santos, and I love you for that every single day of my life.
Do we need the hose?
2, 1, play.
I don't think Amy heard me.
And now there's who's the oh, that's the bald-headed geek.
Hey, everybody.
I played your message.
Yeah, I had a brief opportunity. I have to go pick up my kid from a friend's house. So, I've got about a 20-minute drive, so I can hop in here.
Sweet.
Okay. All right. Well, we're watching Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko, and And there's a little bit of playback on you, Phil, so I'm going to mute you until you want to say something.
Cool.
Henry, why did you call Dean Malenko why did you call him that?
It goes back to a feud that he apparently had with Tony Schiavone right around the time Dean Malenko joined up with AEW after he unceremoniously got fired by Vince. And it kind of stuck. That's how I remember his name.
You know, I actually have a question. When you look at the ECW and kind of how you talk about it being a gateway to either WWF or WCW, could you make the argument that in some ways ECW was the NXT of the 90s in that it was the developmental territory where a lot of people went to hone their craft?
That's a really good friggin' observation. What I just heard is that I believe you just said ECW was the gateway drug to WCW.
Or WWF. He did say both.
My first experience with ECW had the Dudleys cussing the fans at ringside, saying the most horrendous things. So my impression of ECW was something that was completely different from WCW and WWF at the time. So I mean, I never considered it to be a gate.
You muted yourself.
I considered it to be something that was just completely different, an alternative. Just really, really crazy.
Yeah, crazy. So what you're referring to, Pondwater? Now that's one of the shows I'll never forget. I mean, I won't fully repeat what he says, but he's like, Bubba Ray was like, he got in one fan's face, then he got in the ring, and he's like, "Oh, it's a mom who taught her daughter how to suck beep," and I'm like, "Whoa!" Like, well, I mean, back then, I'm like, "Wow, this is great," but looking back at it now, I'm like, that's pretty shitty a thing to say.
I don't know. MJF still says shit like that.
Not to that degree, Phil.
He just literally told Chernoff interviewed him and he said his mom was a crack whore.
Yeah, but isn't that like a standard epithet for people sometimes, though? You just call their relatives a crack whore and try to get bad heat. And
I don't know. I don't know any crack whores.
Actually, on the topic of MJF, I think you talk about the what-ifs of an Eddie Guerrero career. Could you picture a match or a program between him and MJF and some of the stuff that they could do both on the mic and in the ring? I think that would have been potentially a 5-star feud. What are your guys' thoughts?
I don't think so. Frank, you knew Bill. I can hear him. Thank you.
Gotcha.
I meant that I could hear me, and it was beginning to bother me. Anyway, to answer your question, Money Mike, I don't think so, and here's why. If Eddie Guerrero were still alive now, he would be in his mid-50s. That is by no means prohibitive. Age is just a number if you're still good enough to go. I mean, look at Sting, for example, or Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan. But I think by now, Eddie Guerrero probably would have gone to a more of a teaching role, kind of like Shawn Michaels has. You might see him every once in a great while in a match, kind of like they do with Sting and AEW now. But I don't know that they would actually put an Eddie Guerrero, if he were still alive now, into a program with anybody. That said, I do think that you're right, and I'd be interested to see what an MJF Eddie Guerrero program would actually look like coming to full fruition.
No, and I think you make an excellent point, Henry, and I'm kind of thinking here, I think just looking at the way the modern day wrestling landscape is, I think that an Eddie Guerrero would thrive more in a collaborative AEW environment. And who are some individuals in AEW that you could maybe see Eddie Guerrero gravitating towards, and maybe that managerial role like we've seen with, say, a Jake Roberts or a Tully Blanchard? I mean, an obvious one for me, just because of the high-flying style, is imagine if he was the manager of, like, the Lucha Brothers.
Go ahead,
Pondwater.
Yeah, I could see him with the factions. He'd be there with Andrade, in my mind.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, but that's an
He'd be
excellent
perfect mouthpiece for Andrade, and you could
Yeah,
put
definitely.
put the Lucha Brothers with them, and it would just be an incredible faction.
Because is Chavo Jr. still with Andrade, or did they break up?
I don't know if they broke up or he's just not on there now.
Okay, I couldn't remember because I'm kind of behind on my modern day AEW. I need to catch up before the pay-per-view tonight.
I think they fell out because Chavo took the heat for canceling Pac's flights.
Oh, okay, that whole thing.
And I wondered if they were moving him out of the way because Ric Flair had just become free from WWE, and I didn't know if they were going to bring him in to be with Andrade, and then the plane ride from hell episode came out.
Yeah, I think he'll eventually be there, but after all this heat goes down after that episode.
I don't think the heat's there anymore, to be honest with you. I think it's calmed already.
I don't think Ric Flair makes the jump to AEW for the same reason we're never going to see Hulk Hogan in AEW. I believe that Tony Khan values the nostalgic, which is why we see wrestlers like Chavo and Sting and Tully Blanchard and Jake Roberts and Arn Anderson. But unfortunately, because there's so much we might still not know about other things that have happened in Ric Flair's past, I could see Tony Khan saying to a Ric Flair, look, I respect you for what you've done in the industry. However, you are toxic enough that you are going to hurt my brand. Unfortunately, you're persona non grata. I need you to get the hell out of here.
Same reason they haven't picked up Tessa Blanchard.
Do you think we ever see her in a modern day promotion? I apologize, Henry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're fine.
Well, she just got signed by
was it Wow?
What was that? Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I think eventually that Tessa will wind up in a WWE or AEW. I really think AEW or WWE's I think their reputation's a little messed up right now, given the releases that they've had. So I really think they would try to do something first. Although, don't they have this new edict that nobody like under 25 can be signed or something?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that's valid because aren't there? And this is where it turns into a gray area. And I by no means am a legal expert at all. That's the other Michael Amend, our friend who's the attorney. But I'd be curious to know if can they even make a statement or a rumor like that? Because couldn't that be miscued as age discrimination? But
yeah.
I wonder about that though because it's a television role, and isn't there's some qualifiers like you can specify for certain roles you need certain characteristics, so it's definitely a gray area. I think it's an interesting discussion.
It absolutely is because I'm working on an HR unit right now in my org leadership class, and we're covering a lot of the. I think this is this was an amendment to the 1964 Act. I think it was in 1991. You cannot discriminate about. You can't discriminate. Oh, here's the thing. You can't discriminate against people 40 years or older. So I guess if like Frankie Monet, I think she came out and was like, she made some comment about that. And she's 38, so maybe she's not covered under that. But it still seems like a really weird age discrimination. But they do that in sports too. Like Adrian Peterson just signed with the Titans, and they're like, "Oh my God, a 36-year-old running back! Oh Lord, oh my God, yeah." So I guess if they're like, now if he was 41 and somebody wanted to sign him, I guess he could say, "Oh, age discrimination." But I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're as far as WWE is concerned, every one of their superstars are playing a role. I wouldn't be surprised one of these days if we don't see a crawl at the end of it. Ashley Flair as Charlotte Flair, or real names. And let's face it, it's not age discrimination that Hollywood won't hire me to play Robin the Boy Wonder. I mean, at 55 years old, I'm not going to make that casting. So if that's the way they approach things, I could see it not being it's not even close to being a discrimination. It's this is what I need to play this part.
Movie idea.
I mean, eventually the real champion
Batman, but instead of Adam West, because unfortunately he's no longer with us, we get George Clooney to play Batman, and you can be Robin Boy Wonder.
There we go.
Did you really just say George Clooney? I should drive down the bath right now.
Wait, what's the matter with George Clooney?
He was the first Batman I could think of that wasn't Adam West, so sue me.
What about Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton.
See, the only Batman film of his I remember, and anymore I don't think of him as Batman. I think of him more as Doc Ock from the new Spider-Man films.
Is he Doc Ock in the new Spider-Man?
No, Doc Ock is somebody else.
Michael Keaton was the Vulture.
No, Michael Keaton's Vulture.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He was Vulture in Spider-Man. That's right.
Right.
Keaton was the first. When that movie is still one of my favorites. In 1989, when that movie came out, Michael Keaton as Batman, loved it.
See, I think the reason I like that movie so much is that I like Jack Nicholson's Joker. I catch heat from people all the time that tell me that they think Heath Ledger's is better, and you're welcome to that opinion if you truly think so. But I've seen The Dark Knight. It's honestly, DC doesn't make superhero movies as well as Marvel does. I'm just going to say that right now. If you want to throw heat at me, I am at TGT Muppet Man. You can tell me I'm wrong all you want. I'll probably block you for it.
That's fair. It's fair.
DC does not make superhero movies nearly as good as Marvel, but with The Dark Knight, with Heath Ledger's Joker, they kind of knocked that movie right out of the park. But the first Batman Joker I ever remember seeing was Jack Nicholson. And I have never seen a Jack Nicholson movie I disliked because of him in particular.
So I have a superhero-related question while we're watching these two superheroes in the ring, but I want to go back to Marvel.
I like that wordplay there, Money Mike.
Thank you. Well, I want to go back to and this is an actual Marvel question. So the main Marvel movies I've seen are like Deadpool. I'm not really a comics or a Marvel person. If you were to recommend somebody to start watching the Marvel movies, is there a certain order you should go in? Because I know a lot of them are on the Disney Plus app.
Yes.
Iron Man.
Yes.
Okay.
Iron Man. Start with Iron Man 1. Yep.
Okay.
I'm like you, Michael. For instance, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, but I'm a Harry Potter fan when it comes to the movies. I never read the books. I love the Marvel universe, but I never read the comics. And so one day all right, calm down. What just happened? Because I didn't read the comic books. First of all, I think earlier when we said beforehand, I think I think Antonio misunderstood it and thought foreplay, so he got all excited. But I think you need to start. I actually found a website that said what the exact order should be, and I think that you should start Iron Man and just go, because it all makes sense. And I'm sorry, I agree with Henry. I think that Marvel did a fantastic job with their Marvel universe, but I will say when you look at Batman from the early 80s or the late 80s, early 90s to the remake, the reboot of the series, they went from something that was relatively a little bit more cartoony, right, and those were good movies, to a darker side of Batman. So I think that they did, even when they did, Batman versus Superman, and they went into Justice League, Batman is always been meant to be a darker character. So that's my take, and I'll shut up now.
Thank you for the advice on Marvel, though. I've wanted to maybe start watching those because I like you, Frank. I am a Wizarding World Harry Potter fan. Like prior to getting into wrestling, my childhood was Harry Potter driven, so I could talk about that for hours. But Marvel is just something I was looking at. I'm like, oh, I might want to try to watch some of these.
You don't need to be a super comic fan, I don't think, to get into them and appreciate them.
Because, yeah.
I mean, I was never a big Captain America guy, or I was never a big Black Widow person, but just like seeing them come to life on screen was perfect. It was perfect. They did a great job with all of it.
Yeah,
I
thank you
was-
for that. I know that was a bit of a sidebar conversation, but thank you
No,
for
it's fine. That's what we do on TGT. Come on now.
Well,
if I
I
can
wanna
go
tell
back to
you-
that for just a second, and then I'll let Pondwater go. I honestly think the starting point that's best isn't Iron Man; it's Captain America. I love Robert Downey Jr. I did not like all 3 Iron Man films. There was something about the way they were written. They're not personally my cup of tea. And I started the MCU with Captain America. Personally, I feel like you can skip those movies unless you actually want to watch the story. And I don't move to dissuade anybody from doing that. But Iron Man just wasn't my cup of tea by himself. But anyway, I cut you off, Pondwater. You were
No, you're fine. I was just going to mention about the Joker. I don't know if y'all watched Gotham, but that kid that played, and they never actually called him the Joker, but you knew that was the Joker. And I think he is by far the best adaptation of the Joker on TV or film out of all of them. And I'll even shock you a little more to say that on TV or film, Lex Luthor is John Cryer on Supergirl. John Cryer has played the best Lex Luthor. And if you'd have told me Ducky was going to be the best Lex Luthor, I would have never believed it.
That surprises me because is John Cryer the same? Is it the same one that I'm thinking of from the 2.5 Men?
That's him.
The brother. Wow, that really surprises me.
He is the greatest Lex Luthor.
Is Gotham still on?
No, Gotham's done.
Okay, because that's a show I've actually I want to kind of go back and binge. Is it on any streaming platforms?
I imagine it's probably on HBO Max.
Yeah,
I think so. Probably HBO Max. Probably definitely Fox.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to put.
I hate to interrupt everyone, but 2 things. For one, notice how short Eddie Guerrero's hair is here 6 months after that AAA show we just watched. And 2, a little piece of advice: if anyone out there ever gets a union job, I'm going in 2 hours early tonight because I'm covering for someone so they can go on a party bus because I'm a nice guy.
Oh.
And he just texted me and said, "Can you come in a half an hour early so I don't rush? I don't have to rush." So I have to leave now so I can go upstairs and eat and then head to work. And I'm going to shove my metal turtle boot up his ass. Antonio, I'm proud of you, buddy. It was good to be back. Love seeing all you guys. And until next time, Frank, my phone does work. Like you can.
Okay,
you can invite me back more often.
I'll bother you more. Don't worry.
All right, love you.
I'll text you too.
Thank you for joining us, TJ.
Good to see you, TJ.
It's good to see you, TJ.
Good to see you guys.
So yeah, I didn't realize that this match was that far.
This match is incredible.
Yeah,
it really is.
I've been watching it. It's great. This is such good technical wrestling.
I will say that due to the fact that there are so many matches, I'm not doing one straight map it segment. I don't think, unless I feel like it, till we get to the very last match. But all of our matches tonight, except this one and the Ring of Honor match, all took place out in California. Bash at the Beach 1998 is what we're doing next once this match comes to an end. It was one of, I think, the only ones not to take place in Florida. It took place in San Diego, California.
That's very cool.
And No Way Out 2004, our main event, took place, I think, at the Cow Palace.
It did. Was it Dairy City, or did I make that up?
Dairy City.
Daly City, I think, might be where it is, because there is a Daly City out in California.
Dairy City.
Dairy
That
Cow.
sounds like a place where you'd have all kind of dairy-themed restaurants, like A&W, Dairy Queen, Sonic.
Or like the equivalent of
Howard Johnson's just line the street,
the
sell different
equivalent
flavors
of
of ice
Hooters.
cream.
What's the equivalent of Hooters? Udders?
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ, Antonio.
Oh my God.
The worst part of it is, and I feel kind of bad because we're doing what we normally do on our show, which is bicker and banter and talk about bullshit. We are talking over what looks to be a very excellent match. And now, like I said, some of these I didn't actually watch because I wanted to gauge natural reaction when I watched him with you guys for the first time, especially not knowing who Phil cooked up for today. But
can I make an observation on the matches too while we're going through them? I want to bring up something that a good friend of the show and fellow top guy, Doug McLeod, mentioned to me one time when he talked about attending wrestling events live. And he said the thing that to him was unique about AEW compared to WWE is I can watch AEW and not need the commentary. Like sometimes when you go to a live event, you feel like if you don't have the commentary, there's an element of the show that's missing. But like he said, when he was there, you could feel the story in the ring. And I kind of feel like Eddie Guerrero's matches, especially this one, is very much in that same vein. Like you can tell the story that's going on by watching it when it's muted. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that, but that was just an observation of his I wanted to bring up.
I won't disagree with that, but I always felt like with the little bit of ECW I've watched that Joey Styles kind of made it better, especially since most of the time he was working by himself in a one-man booth. And that's got to be tremendously difficult because
I agree.
With more than one person in the booth, like you take Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone or Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler, for example, you have somebody else to play off of. Even if your reactions are still genuine and natural, you're playing off of somebody else and you're able to feed into that, kind of like what we do here. If I were to sit here and try to do this all by myself, I'll be honest, I think I would have lost the audience about 20 minutes ago because I think Joey Styles in ECW, because they've talked about before in the different podcasts how he wasn't really a fit when they tried to reboot it in WWE because he tried to do it his way and that just didn't work for Vince. I think for these matches, having the commentary helps because I think it adds something to it that you don't get otherwise. But for this match in particular, I don't feel like we need it either because these two are telling such a masterful story.
My honest opinion is I like I like commentary. It's what I'm used to. But like when I went to, again, I bring up the AEW show I went to, Dynamite in Boston. That was such a great show. I didn't need commentary for that. Just to sit there and watch these guys perform was phenomenal. But I mean, I also you mentioned Joey Styles.
Joey Styles. Right. Joey Styles.
Oh God damn, pal. God
So
damn, pal.
we got Derry City and we got AJ Styles the comedy.
At least AJ Styles was kind of a forgivable mistake because nobody really talks about Joey Styles that much anymore.
Well, I love Joey Styles. I they did not use him correctly in WWE. I mean, I don't know what WWE is thinking. I don't know that I've understood what they've been thinking for the last 10 years. So, I wish I was going to say AJ again. I wish Joey was still. I really do. I wish he was still doing wrestling commentary.
Frank, at
Do you
least
think there's sidebar off of that, Frank? Do you think there's a spot for him? Maybe not even full time, but do you think there's a role for him as a guest commentator or to have some kind of role in, say, maybe a GCW or even an AEW? Could you see him gravitating to either of those promotions and maybe adapting even from a nostalgic perspective just to do a few things?
I know you asked that question of Frank, but before you answer, Frank, do you mind if I try?
This is your show, brother. You do what you got to do.
Well, I know that, but he asked you, and I didn't feel right just interrupting, even if this is my wheelhouse today. I think one of the things, I'm going to switch gears for just a second. One of the things I always liked about WCW when they began working with their cruiserweight divisions and you'd see wrestlers coming in from the national promotions in Mexico and Japan, they would bring in Mike Tenay to do those matches because he was the knowledgeable one of what we were seeing in the ring. There were times it felt like it didn't work. Oh, no, the match didn't just end. I thought we had a 3 count, but it looks like we're still going. I always kind of felt like Mike Tenay added something to those matches, especially since we didn't see a lot of high-flying cruiserweights until mid-90s WCW. I think Joey Styles could be in that same vein. The problem, I don't know that he'd want to come back. As much as personally, some of the matches they have in AEW, Go back to their last pay-per-view, that cage match for the tag team championships. I could see Joey Styles just having a ball with that match. I really could.
That was one of the, by far, I still will to this day, was one of the best cage matches I've ever seen. It was one of the best entrance. I mean, the Lucha Brothers entrance for that show.
Oh, I loved it.
My God,
It was
I
awesome.
I have it on video. It was so good.
I think the thing that's not talked about with that cage match enough, two elements on that one is, if you look at it, they did old school rules on that, correct? I don't think escape was an option. It had to be pinfall or submission. And also the fact that it was a tag team cage match, which to me, those are more rare. It's usually, if it's a cage match, it's a one-on-one. So I'm inclined to agree with everyone. I thought it was an excellent match.
It looks like we have a decision. The referee has announced a draw in this match. He's giving the belt back to Eddie Guerrero. I think there's a little something right here at the end. So before we transition to the next show, I kind of want to see where this goes before they cut the black.
Can I just remind everybody that this match was 26 years ago?
Wow.
It's
26 years ago, and the stuff they were doing in there, we see stuff like this every week on television now. But this actually didn't look so Circus du Soleil. It actually looked like a part of a genuine fight. I mean, it didn't look like they were blatantly cooperating with each other.
It was like the Pac Dax Harwood match from Wednesday night. Not too big, just good wrestling match.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
That was such a good match.
Not to start this debate, but go ahead, Frank. Before
I was just gonna say, let's get our next.
Before we continue the debate, we're now moving on to our WCW portion of the evening. We take you to Bash at the Beach 1998. It's season 4, episode 1 on the Peacock Network.
I keep having all sorts of.
Our main event for this show, which I hope we eventually get to go back and cover, features a tag team title match with the recently defrocked Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Dennis Rodman taking on Diamond Dallas Page and Karl Malone. Part of the problem that I had, oh no, I take that back. It's season 5, episode 1.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
Shit happens.
Part of the problem that I had putting together this show is I took a lot of suggestions and a lot of ideas from a lot of different people, including some of our cast members who weren't able to be here tonight. And the one problem I kept finding is that because in WCW, Eddie Guerrero wasn't a top-level star, it was hard to find something to put together that didn't have something bigger. Like this pay-per-view, I highly doubt anybody remembers the match that we're about to watch. It is a hair versus hair match between Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero. Because of the bigger match at the end with Hogan, Dennis Rodman, DDP, and Karl Malone, and the title match between Goldberg and Kurt Hennig that probably was about 20 years too late for Kurt Hennig, but that's a debate for if we ever cover Bash at the Beach 1998. Because of the way we go into this match, the match that immediately precedes this is about 2 minutes long. It features Chavo Guerrero as well. So I'm going to take us to a timestamp of 33 minutes, 51 seconds. It includes that match because Eddie comes out during it. It's a very, very quick match before we get into the meat and potatoes of why we're here. I just unfortunately couldn't cut it out because Eddie does come out during the match. So
what's the timestamp?
33 minutes, 51 seconds from Bash at the Beach, 1998.
Okay. 51. Boom. There.
Frank,
I'm there.
Don't feel bad about the AJ Styles impression because apparently OJ Simpson was a Bills starting quarterback.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Oh, we had to bring that up, Antonio.
Which season?
Wait a minute. Before we get into that.
Onward, season 5.
Yeah, season 5, episode 1 of WCW Bash at the Beach.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I still don't get that, Money Mike. What made you think O.J. Simpson never played quarterback?
because in 1990, whenever all that was happening, I was either not born or at that point I wasn't watching the NFL, and I honestly did think that, O.J. Simpson was a quarterback for the Bills. I believed that. That shows you how much I follow.
You got
past-
the team right.
Yeah, we're a good start, but yeah, that was my bad. Yeah, I thought when he did the murder trial, I thought he was still on the team for the Bills as the quarterback.
Oh,
when he
Lord.
did all that stuff.
Even the
needless to say-
Patriots cut Aaron Hernandez before he went to prison.
Yeah, so let me summarize it for you this way. Money Mike is very good with some things and very, very dumb with others.
You can say that again.
But it's hilarious, and I'm glad Antonio brought that up because it was funny. If you could have seen the Twitter chat on that day, it blew up as soon as I said that.
All right.
I knew O.J. Simpson is the guy that ran through airports on the rental car commercial before I knew he was a Buffalo Bill.
See, for me, Pondwater he was that guy that was in Naked Gun.
Yeah, the Naked Gun movies.
Right? Yeah. So are we ready? Did everyone get
Are we all at 33:51?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, play. I said play, you stupid machine.
That should become a new segment. Anytime I'm a guest on this show, we should just list off the crazy things Money Mike says.
Isn't there a rule that you're not allowed to book things?
Hence, that's one of the crazy things. Yes, there is a documented rule that's kept by one of our top guy members.
Look at Stevie
Now,
Ray.
now, anybody who's watching this, I did go into a little bit of it a second ago. They're probably asking themselves, if this is an Eddie Guerrero show, what the hell is Stevie Ray doing here? Well,
Did you just see that? Did you see the sign real quick? Did you see the sign?
I missed it.
It was Stevie Ray, and it said "Smoke that fool, sucker," and he had a gun.
Wow.
I'm like, that sign did not age well.
Nope.
No, it did not.
Are you drinking a goddamn Capri Sun right now?
I am.
Yeah, you are. I love it. That's awesome.
And
I love these things.
They're so good. They are.
Why is he coming out in a pool floaty?
With a squirt gun.
It's Bash at the Beach. That's why.
This is the guy that brought you Pepe.
That squirt gun reminds me, doesn't John Morrison have a gimmick now where he's doing like the dip or the drip stick or whatever?
I don't
Is
know.
that still happening? Is that
I don't
still,
know.
I have not watched Monday Night Raw in so long.
I will say that Chavo coming out like that reminds me of the first comic book convention I went to in Philadelphia. And I have a picture of it somewhere here in my house. I met a gentleman who was dressed up like Deadpool that was wearing a unicorn pool float with a little water wingies in full costume as Deadpool, holding up a sign saying that he was looking for a skinny dipping partner.
Oh god.
Oh boy.
Deadpool and The Undertaker were a weird recurring theme at that Comic-Con.
I love how Eddie comes out taunting with the scissors.
Now, I included this match, unfortunately, like I said, because the way it flows with the whole story of their match. I want to say this match goes maybe 2 minutes between Stevie Ray and Chavo Guerrero Jr.
Gosh, how young was Chavo at this time? Because he looks young.
What are you trying to say? That he looks old now?
I was actually gonna say that he's one of the people you could make the argument he doesn't look like he's really aged well. There's some wrestlers that are timeless, and yes, exactly.
Or like, I know he's not a wrestler, but Eric Bischoff still looks the same now as he did in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the
Chavo-
hair's
He
not the
really
same
does.
color, but
Chavo's 25 in this match.
Jesus.
Dang.
He's 51 years old.
Wow. He looks really good for 51.
you know the one thing that I've often wondered, Booker T would go on after Vince Russo took over the company in 2000. He would go on to become a singles star, and he would catapult his career to new heights in the WWE when WCW folded. I often wonder why they didn't try to do anything to push Stevie Ray, Because as I remember, he wasn't that bad of a wrestler.
Really? You think Stevie Ray's a good wrestler?
I'm not saying I think he's a bad wrestler.
I think in WCW 2000, there definitely could have been a feud or a place for him. And if my screen looks weird for a minute, I'm plugging my phone in.
We're not coming to the inside of the
We're all
fishbowl.
here having a good.
But now the referee is trying to keep Stevie Ray from murdering Chavo Guerrero.
I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say it's been so long since I watched the show that I don't even remember the shenanigans, and it amazes me that people spent $30 on this show.
Are you saying there were some
people
shady
didn't
shenanigans
spend-
on this show?
Yes, I am saying.
I'm gonna
that, yeah.
pistol whip the next person that says shenanigans.
Hey Henry, what was that favorite bar you went to the other day?
Shenanigans. You mean shenanigans, right?
I love that movie.
God damn. What movie is this we're talking about?
Super Troopers.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Please tell me. Please tell me you
Hey,
watched
please
that.
tell me you've seen that.
Nope, I have not.
Oh Jesus!
It never appealed to me, much like, oh my god.
That
Oh,
is a young
we have
Ric
another-
Flair that we've got in the ring right here.
We have another run-in, guys. Uh oh. It's Lauren.
Lauren.
Hi guys.
Oh, that piqued Pond Water's attention.
Hi Dave.
Hey, Lauren.
What
How
are
you
you
doing?
guys doing here? I thought this was just me and Pondwater.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, we're watching some wrestling, celebrating a monumental moment with Antonio.
It is monumental indeed, Antonio. Here we are, just a couple or 3 days shy of 1 year sober. How's it feel?
Feels good.
Probably feels better than ever, right?
Oh yeah.
Good.
No hangovers. No
So
nothing.
proud of you and happy for you.
Thank you.
Stay the course.
Oh,
You're
I
not
will.
finished yet.
Nope.
Just getting a lot better at it.
Oh yeah.
Good. Well, what are we watching?
Right now, we are in match 3 of our special tribute episode to Eddie Guerrero, WCW's Bash at the Beach 1998.
Exciting.
Suffice it to say, this is a good match, one of quality you wouldn't find on Mansplaining, because they review the less common but still very entertaining matches that are more shenanigan based.
See, I'm just looking at Charles Robinson and wondering how the hell I get hair like that.
And you know, he's another one we were talking a few minutes ago. Charles Robinson he looks the same here as he does today, in my opinion.
Found the fountain of youth.
Actually, Pondwater, I want to go back to something you said. You commented on a referee earlier wearing suspenders. What do you think of this look here with the bow tie and the blue polo shirt? Because I've always
love
been a
it.
big fan. This is my actually favorite look for referees. I wish it was more common nowadays.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, nowadays you're just lucky if a referee will tuck their shirt in.
I know.
But I would love to. I would love to wear the shirt and bow tie as a referee.
Have you ever done that in the past, or has that not been your attire?
No, I've only wore the stripes and the blue NWA referee shirt.
Nice.
Lauren, I wanted to ask you real quick, just because I've got to get my shots in. Are you following Julio this season, since he's on a very good football team now?
It's painful. It's really hard to see the one you love move on with someone else.
I mean, he hasn't done much for us, actually. But
No, but the team is looking good. And, you know, that's good enough. And in a way, I'm happy for Julio. He deserves to be on a good team.
You have to admit your Falcons are at least more competitive this year, it seems like.
They are getting their groove. It would say, you know, the tricky part about that, Michael, is that my least favorite person on the entire planet, Tom Brady, went from the AFC to my freaking division.
I know.
So I no longer have to worry about meeting him in the Super Bowl. Now I have to meet him twice a freaking year every season, and I'm just done. I'm done with him. I'm so done. I wish he'd move on. But I don't know that the Falcons, even at their very best, would necessarily win their division. So,
Well, never say never. We do know there's one game they're definitely going to lose, and I believe it's January 2nd against the best team in the NFL, the Buffalo Bills. Go
Literally.
Bills.
Mike, I'm gonna shut you up right there.
Yes.
Because you are 1,000% wrong. Not that we're gonna beat Atlanta. I think you're right there. But we're not the best team in the NFL.
Not after last week. Whew.
Hey, you gotta ride or die with your team, and you
that's true.
Let
And
me
I
ask-
feel like I'm dying every freaking week out here, but that's okay.
Let me ask Lauren a question about, okay, you take Julio leaves and he goes to another team. If he gets hurt playing for that other team, do you feel bad for him?
For him personally?
Yeah, I mean, like when Emmitt Smith went and played for the Cardinals and he got hurt, and actually the Cowboys are the ones that hurt him, I giggled. I mean,
No.
'cause when somebody leaves my team, they're dead to me.
Okay. I have two opinions on this. One opinion is that I really don't want him to be as successful with his new team as he was in Atlanta. I truly don't. But that's not about him. That's because I'm a Falcons fan. Do I want him to get hurt? Definitely not. And he is
Not that you want him to get hurt, but you don't really care that he got hurt.
It's hard because I feel like with Julio, it's personal. It's personal.
Okay.
Like I really like him personally, so that's hard. But any other player, I don't know that I would care that much.
Who roots or giggles when somebody gets hurt? That seems kind of morbid, actually.
I'll be honest. When Tom Brady broke
yeah.
his leg like a decade ago, I giggled like a schoolgirl.
Lawrence Taylor breaking Joe Theismann's leg is what makes Lawrence Taylor one of the greatest defensive players in NFL history.
You mean it's not the fact that he beat Bam Bam Bigelow at WrestleMania 11 that makes him like the greatest defensive player?
No. It's the fact that he broke Joe Theismann's leg. Like when I know Sid Vicious's leg's fixing to snap, I can't watch. I'll turn my head. When I know that there's a clip that's going to show Joe Theismann, I'm here for it.
You're like, yeah, let me watch his.
Let me grab my
his
opera glasses. I want to see this up close.
Nothing's
Yeah,
worse.
watch his ankle touch his thigh. Like,
Nothing's worse.
Gosh, you guys are
seen that,
morbid.
You guys seen that? Raiders-
honestly, when what Pondwater said was when so if somebody leaves Tennessee and goes to another team, they are dead to me. But where they're really dead to me is when they leave and go to a division rival.
Yes.
So
That I agree with.
like I could see like Julio becoming a free agent and signing with the Bucks or something. That might like crush Lauren. But the fact that he was traded and went to, her second favorite dude's team, Frank, went to Tennessee. I mean, like when Steve McNair was traded to Baltimore, I bought Steve McNair's jersey for Baltimore. I supported him. The only time I didn't was when we played Tennessee. I love Steve McNair.
See, but it's personal at that point. And let's put the shoe on the other foot. If Tom Brady had come down to Atlanta, how would I feel? My team might be undefeated right now, but I have personally hated Tom Brady for like ever.
You would be buying a Tom Brady. You would be first in line to buy a Tom Brady.
You would have loved him.
I guarantee it.
I had that same problem in 2012 when Peyton Manning was choosing between the Titans and the Broncos, because I had hated Manning for years. I mean, Manning tormented me for 10 years, and I was just like, if he's a Titan and we're gonna win a Super Bowl, I'm gonna have to like him.
I'm gonna hold my nose a little bit, but I'm gonna root for this guy because I think he can take us far.
No, when Deion Sanders was playing for the 49ers and he pushed, I mean, in the playoff game, we got screwed. It was pass interference. But the next year he's wearing a Cowboys uniform, and I was a huge Deion Sanders fan.
Yeah,
I even went to his nightclub, Primetime 21.
Tom Brady rules.
Whoa, Tom Brady shit when he pees.
Gotta run it.
If we would have had Tom Brady as our quarterback in the Super Bowl, we would have won the freaking Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
He's probably right.
No.
He's a heel.
He is a heel. Yeah. We're gonna have him on more often.
Hard pass.
I don't know. I think I look at it a little differently. In my room, I have a white Bills jersey with Frank Reich's name on the back of it. He played for the Bills for 10 seasons, most of them before I was born, before he ended up getting traded to Carolina. He finally won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles a couple years ago, and that elevated him to the status of the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. I don't dislike him because he's that looked incredibly painful because he's the head coach of the
Suplex on the
Colts.
floor.
And I have
that was
Frank
right.
Reich's name on the back of that jersey. There's a little bit of a dig at Frank because I know he hates the Indianapolis Colts. But I have sort of a nostalgia for players like that. Now, if tomorrow Buffalo announced they were cutting Josh Allen and he ended up getting signed by the Patriots,
You shut your whore mouth.
I would burn his jersey in effigy. And I would hope that Tom Brady got cut and came to Buffalo to kick his ass.
But some players will do that. You know, they will purposely try to sign with a division rival so they can burn you. Purposely.
Now, here's a question I have about the concept of like AFC versus NFC. Can you have a favorite team in each division, or do you have to just be loyal to one singular team?
This is ride or die, baby. There's only 32 teams. If there's a room of 32 women, you have one favorite. You only have one, right? There may be some that you don't hate, but there's only one. I am married to the Falcons.
Yeah, I am married to the Tennessee Titans. When they're 2-14, I've watched every game. They're 7-2 now. I've watched every game. That's just how I'll never falter from that. And I'll sit here and tell you when they suck.
Who's pitching and who's catching, Frank?
I feel like college
I'm not
football
into
can be
that.
different because there are so many teams and the turnover is so fast.
Yeah,
You have
I
a brand
agree.
new, entirely different team every 3 years.
To me, college sports in and of itself is its own animal because of it's so different. And I was talking with a couple other people about this last night. Just even the playoff structure is so different, and like how the teams are selected to get into like the BCS.
Agreed.
I
I have a
don't get- I-
handful
I
of
don't-
college
I
teams
don't
I
get it.
don't mind.
As they keep showing the hard cam, I noticed something. I wonder if any of you do too. Give it a second and see if it goes back to it. It looks like there's a guy sitting in front of the hard cam wearing a DX shirt.
Oh yeah, right. I do see that.
I see it. Yes, yeah, you're right.
It's like a
It-
teal, right?
The teal, yeah,
A bluish teal, yeah.
Yep, there it is, right there. Yep. I'm surprised they let him keep that on.
Man.
Usually WWE be making them change their shirts.
Like you got Goldberg, you got NWO, you've got, I think there were a couple of football jerseys. It seemed the weirdest to see that guy just sitting there in his blue DX shirt.
Where'd Michael go? Looks like he lost connection. It's all good.
I think he's switching to something else, maybe.
Okay.
Well, he has his Charlotte Funko Pop. So
Yeah, he saw Charles Robinson. It made him think of Charlotte Flair. Now he has to go TCB, brother.
Wow. Oh gosh.
And
that was fast.
Welcome back.
What happened?
Nothing.
It took you that little time to go TCB, man?
My internet cut out.
That's what she said.
Unfortunate.
Cut out.
Oh, what does he do it again?
Can you see me, or do I have a? Can you see me, or do I have a like a my thing?
I see that woman shackled to your ceiling.
Yeah.
We see you, Michael. We see you.
Okay, good.
Can you see us?
Yeah, now I'm good.
All
My
right, cool.
internet cut out.
Hey, did you guys catch the Full Gear Predictions show this morning on Ad Free Shows?
Yeah,
No.
yes, it was excellent.
Thanks.
I'm gonna check it out when we're done.
Yeah.
I caught the
we're-
beginning of it.
Okay, good. We're looking for feedback on that. So let me know what you guys thought. Meanwhile, Antonio
Are
Santos.
you guys gonna?
What?
What?
Are you guys gonna be doing a post show?
That is not on the agenda because John is going to the event. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, we were pretty lucky that he was able to get his hotel room set up last night in order to record that one. But it would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. As always, let everyone know on Twitter, let ad-free shows know on Twitter what you do and don't like, what you want to see more of, less of, something different of. But always put me over if you can, and tag Conrad when you do.
Since you mentioned that, as we get to the end of this match where Chavo is shaving his head, which I found unusual enough, I haven't told us to stop yet. The one thing I think I really want this year and coming into 2022, I want a Bischoff watch-along with Starrcade 97. I want him to actually have to deal with us, the wrestling watching community, and explain for once and for all to us exactly why it wasn't a clean finish. Because many people have said that that botch was the primary reason that WCW went under.
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase that slightly. Was the primary catalyst that started the train downhill to the end of World Championship Wrestling. And I'd kind of like to see him be held to account for that 25 years on.
We need to be the booker for that. I think that would be the best way to do it.
Bret
That
Hart
would
goes
probably
over.
be the way to do it. Anyway, let all of these thoughts be known. Ad-free shows is looking for this type of feedback. So let them know, be a part of what's going on, be a part of what you love. Antonio Santos, I love you. So proud of you.
Love you too. Thank you.
You look great. You're doing the damn thing. Keep it up. Pondwater Dave, I love you in a different way.
I love you too.
You guys have a good
Have a good one.
Antonio, dude. I'll keep our secret. All right, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy.
Thank you for joining us, Lauren.
Your show. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I don't know what to
I
say.
switched to my
With that,
switched to
we
my
move
iPad.
With that, we move back over to YouTube for our penultimate match before our main event, which takes us to the very first Ring of Honor show. You know, if you go up top into your search bar, give me a minute to open it so I can share the link with everybody.
Did it make anybody else uncomfortable watching them wrestle around with those scissors in his hand?
Yeah, I
A
thought
little bit.
Kind of like
It
when
was
you're
weird.
watching the scaffold match, waiting for somebody to fall.
Yeah, you're just, oh God. It's just
posted-
I feel it in my legs when I see Corny fall off the scaffold. Oh,
Oh yeah, that was
and he
horrible.
talks about that. He talked about that injury on a recent drive-through. It looked terrible. I mean, he talked about. I think he said he was laid up for 7 weeks from that.
yeah.
Good
All
Lord,
right, so
Antonio.
this one is actually coming directly from Ring of Honor. It is from their very first show. It is a match, the tournament final for the IWA Heavyweight Championship. And if I've gotten that wrong, it'll show up on the screen here in just a minute. From WCW, Eddie Guerrero would make his way on January 31st, 2000 to the World Wrestling Federation. From the World Wrestling Federation, he would join Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, and a couple of other, and Chris Benoit to form the Radicals. But it was in WWE that the drug problem became bad enough that they had to let him go, unfortunately. And in the in-between period from going and leaving the WWF in 2001 to going back in 2002 after they renamed it WWE, I found this nugget. Eddie Guerrero wrestled a few matches for Ring of Honor, and this was the one that stuck out to me the most. So Frank's got it up on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, bear with me. I'm sending it to myself so I don't have to type all that in. So I can just.
I'm glad my technical issues were solved. I was on a good streak. I had 2 shows with no technical issues.
Yeah,
it's
we
all right.
gotta talk about the internet there. What is going on with the internet there?
This one, I don't know. I think today I hit the wrong button, and it kicked me out of the studio because I was talking, and then when I came back in, could you guys see and hear me? Because I had a pause, I had the pause symbol over my camera, so I couldn't tell if you guys could see me or not.
Unfortunately, we can still see you.
Oh,
you're not like
now
John
I'm-
Cena where you can sit there not talking and just look invisible. You haven't mastered that skill yet, Money Mike.
Oh, trust me, I know I have a face for radio, as people say.
Oh,
I have a voice for radio and a face for radio, which is why I'm glad we're doing this on video so I can scare the hell out of people. All right, if everybody's all set.
Yep, I'm ready.
Yep.
All right. We'll start from 000s. 3, 2, 1, play.
What is that sound? That's so awesome.
Somebody-
Is that a dog?
Somebody jerking off to a radio. I don't know.
What the fuck is happening today?
What is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
Sounds like someone like dog nails on a.
Oh, my dog's right under the.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We love doggies. I love doggies.
What breed do you have, Dave?
She's a Chiweenie.
A
I'm
Chiweenie.
sorry.
A Chihuahua wiener dog breed?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
Nice.
can we see her?
Come here, Remy.
Unless it's a pain in the ass, I don't. Oh, I love it. Oh, baby.
She actually belongs to my stepdaughter.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
She dropped her off for us to watch her for the weekend about 3 years ago.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
Get it, girl. Get it.
Well, you know Frank and his wieners.
What? Why? What did I do?
No, nothing. I don't.
I think the better question, Frank, is what haven't you done?
Well, I wanted to go back real quick to the football talk because, Pondwater, do you remember when Eddie finished his career with you? Eddie George?
I forgot about that.
He was a running back in 2005, and then he was done.
Yeah, I can remember now that you brought it back up. I mean, it didn't stick out to me, but yeah, Eddie George had a good career. Had a good career for the Cowboys.
He did?
Well, wait a minute. Didn't he have one good season with us?
No, well, he was there for one season. I don't think he rushed for 1,000 yards. Crazy to see the jersey. It's insane.
I remember the good years a lot better than I do the bad years.
Yeah, no, I can remember the bad years because I remember the shitty players like Zach Mettenberger, our quarterback, and Bishop Sankey, our running back. Like going back to some of those years, I'm like, what were we thinking? So I'm very happy that we're not in that era anymore.
Listen, we're talking about. Oh, go ahead.
If you're a Buffalo fan and you didn't start between the years of like 1988 and 1999. You don't know what good football is supposed to look like most of the time.
If it makes you feel better, we're talking about bad football teams. I wish I would have thought to bring this up when Lauren was on the call. My stepfather's a New York Jets fan.
Oh,
and has been for years.
Yeah, well, so the Titans are 7-2 this year. They've lost to the 8-1 Arizona Cardinals, and get this, they've lost to the New York fucking Jets. I was on. Let me tell you something. People must have thought I was like crazy because I was watching that game on my flight back from Seattle, and at the end I was like, "Son of a bitch!" and I yelled it, and everyone's like, and I'm like, "All right, I'm getting a little bit. I have a problem. I have an addiction."
Okay, so when we find out that Frank can't go to any future Top Guy weekends because they put him on the no-fly
no flies, I know.
It's
wherever it is.
We'll have that very first episode of Top Guy Theater on the road. Just put a bunch of cameras inside Frank's car and we'll record it for posterity.
I know, wherever it is. If it's on the West Coast, I'll drive up and be like, all right, I'm at Sonic Trip number 6. Yeah, like that's going to be riveting television or riveting whatever.
That's why you can't go by yourself. You got to take somebody with you.
Imagine
or pick somebody up along the way.
Series last year,
like me,
on the road
Antonio,
again.
Some stranger with an axe on I-95. Somebody, because you got to keep it entertaining.
Well, Henry,
hey, I think I could.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think I could make the case for being an entertaining car riding companion. I seem like loads of fun, don't I?
No, I think
as long as I don't have to drive.
Do you realize that if Mike and I it was me and Mike that had taken that trip to Jacksonville, that he would have probably we would have had such boring conversation for other people, but him and I would have been talking about taxes and accounting like most of the way down there, and I would have been riveted by it all.
Oh yeah, well, did you see the new Gatsby standards came out the other day?
All right, I just heard orgasm standards. What?
Gadsby.
standard?
Only one of us is
Yeah,
supposed to be a rope shooter here, Frank, and that's Antonio.
And
Hey, I know about Gadsby, not the other one.
oh God. I see. That's the thing where being a CPA pays off because I have no idea what the hell Gadsby is.
It's just governmental accounting. It's not all.
I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about governmental accounting. So we were talking about rings that like were jumpy. This one looks like a fucking trampoline. Does it not? Like it's really got a lot of give to it. Like let's see this.
Where did ROH get their rings?
Probably rented them if they didn't travel with them. Normally, most of your promotions that travel have somebody local in the area they can rent one from.
Oh, cool. What were you going to say, Henry? I didn't mean to cut you off.
They got him from Wrestling Rings R Us.
Yep.
Because I feel like if this were a boxing match, it'd go back to the AAA match because that looked like a standard boxing ring. If you put this kind of mat inside a boxing ring, I feel like you hit somebody to knock them out. They're going to bounce back up off the mat and be able to just hit you right in the mouth. It seems that springy, at least looking at it like this.
They're not.
Talking about that, Pondwater, have you taken a ref bump before?
Oh my God, yes.
Do you have any memorable ones?
That's the first question I ask the promoter if I'm the only referee, I know I'm not taking a ref bump. And if there is another referee there, I'm asking, do I get to take a ref bump?
Oh, do you want to take a ref bump? Okay.
Yeah. You're looking to take them.
I love it. I trained to wrestle. That's why when I started becoming a referee, the guys love for me to referee their matches because I can do anything they want me to.
Nice.
I almost told Money Mike that was a dumb question, but the way that the answer to that ended, Pondwater, that was actually a kind of a smart question there, Money Mike.
Thank you. I got my gold star for the day.
I got to take a ref bump in the NWA World Title match that I refereed.
Oh,
wow.
Very cool.
I saw you posted. You posted something where you were holding the belt up.
Yes,
I thought it was really, really cool. That was really cool.
That was one of the. I mean, the NWA may be dead to a lot of people, but those three letters mean a lot to me. And that was a highlight, just a highlight for me to get to stand in the ring with that belt over my head.
You know, I got to tell you, Pondwater, again, one of the AFS has done a tremendous amount of things for me, but one of the things that as I've started to explore my wrestling fandom a little bit more, I've gone back and watched some NWA things, some WCCW things, and I can see why, because you know, I grew up with WWF. It was just World Wrestling Federation. It was all over the place. It was the easy thing to watch, right? But looking back at it now, like, I mean, NWA was incredible. It really was. Like, just following the Jim Crockett Promotions when they were NWA. I mean, that.
Oh yeah.
The things they were doing there. I mean, it's fun to go back and realize that. As a kid, I was like, WWF, it's the only game in town. Well, it really wasn't. It really wasn't.
When we first got cable TV, we could watch WWF and like they'd show the Madison Square Garden shows on USA because that was the Madison Square Garden network.
Yep.
And you could see some of those matches. I mean, we saw Jimmy Snuka jump off the cage. We saw Hulk Hogan beat Bob Backlund. I actually enjoyed the WWF product until Hulkamania took over and they started making it more of a cartoon. My brother loved it, but he's 8 years younger than me. At 16 years old, 17 years old, the rock and wrestling connection wouldn't work for me. Now I got a kick out of seeing on MTV, seeing Wendy Richter and Cyndi Lauper, you know, seeing them show up with the Night of 1,000 Dances being played on VH1 in the rotation. Because back then we actually watched music videos.
Right. I remember that era. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. But in my mind, what are these? To me, Paul Orndorff and Hulk Hogan, if they're in the same room, they're supposed to be trying to kill each other. So that was tough for me. But my little brother ate it up because he was so much younger.
Well, that was my thing. They were... hang on one second, Mike. Sorry. They were catering to my demographic at the time. I was 8 years old when I started watching wrestling, so it was right in my wheelhouse, and I didn't know anything but WWF. I was loyal to WWF. I watched WCW, but then when WCW was gone, at the height, I watched it. When it was gone, I went back to WWF. So I feel like I never had a chance to. It's like that's why I think I'm so drawn to AEW, because it's something different, and it's a different product, and I feel like it's going back to some more. I mean, there's a lot of high spots, obviously, but it goes back to some of the roots, and that's why like following Tony Schiavone. Yeah, following Tony Schiavone's What Happened When. And watching what it was like. I'm not a big fan of studio wrestling, but then when you watch those shows, they were really good. So
Yes.
it's like it's to me, I know that the NWA is back. I'm glad it is, because we need more professional wrestling out there, and not sports entertainment.
Well,
I think. Go ahead, Pondwater.
AEW. Thank you. I'm sorry. AEW. I like to watch AEW because there's an element of surprise what's going to happen this week.
Yeah.
You don't get that with WWE.
Yeah,
and
you don't.
Because you kind of know what's going to happen. And I mean, and when I make these comments, I'm not taking away from talent in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But I turned it on there last night, and they had the women in the ring that were going to be in the Survivor Series. And they're talking about their names. And Shotzi Blackheart is now Shotzi. Just Shotzi.
Yeah.
But Shotzi Blackheart is such a great name. So in my mind, that set her apart. Shotzi Blackheart. It's just a cool name. But now she's just Shotzi. And I'm thinking, why are we messing with it? Because now she's on Raw, and you're going to see if you can make her less interesting.
Yep.
And then, like, 3 out of the 4 women in the ring just had single names. Natalia. Why isn't it Natty Neidhart? But she's Natalia. And then you got Aaliyah, who until last night I had no idea who she was. But then, Shayna Baszler is Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, see, they did that to Aleister Black. They did that to
Big E. Remember, they did it to him and Cesaro.
Yeah, Big E. Big E links
Antonio Cesaro.
Antonio Cesaro. Yeah, I don't know why they do that shit. I mean, why can they have 2 names in NXT, but then like Andrade El Idolo, like, and then he comes up there and he's just, or what was his full name? I can't remember what Andrade's full name.
It was Andrade C. Almas, and then they dropped it to Andrade.
Yeah, like why?
And now AEW, I think AEW probably should try to make some wrestlers give them different names, because when you got Ethan Page, Adam Page, Diamond Dallas Page, there's too many pages.
Yeah.
There's some first names that are the same. I mean, Steve Austin would have never been Steve Austin had he made a trip through and they said, we already have Steve Williams.
Yeah,
that's an excellent observation. I think
so. I mean, I'm a firm believer in, if you have somebody that was over and you signed them, why are you going to change them? Like, let's just be Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, Karrion Kross. It still worked, but you had him over. So let's first thing we're going to do is we're going to take Scarlett away from him, because that's obviously working. And now let's put him in this idiotic gladiator helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you miss with that combination? Scarlett Bordeaux could be the modern day Sunny.
Yep.
That's an excellent point.
I mean, she's got that kind of charisma.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes you just don't need to mess with things. So I get AEW is trying to let these guys come in and capitalize, but on the indies, Preston Vance was Cody Vance. So there has been some changes. I don't know. It's just all over the place, but I love the surprise factor of AEW. I'll agree. I'm not going to say they're a better wrestling show, because when the bell rings, there are some glaring differences, botches. There's some whiffs, and there's a lot of people getting hurt because they're getting stiffed, but they're bringing in these. They're bringing in your Daniel Bryans and Matt Hardys. Well, not Matt. I'm not going to use Matt Hardy. Daniel Bryan. I'm going to use CM Punk, Christian Cage. You bring these guys in, and that can help you get with your ratings. While some of these guys that really aren't ready for prime time yet are getting a lot of experience, so they will be ready for prime time. And some of those guys need to be on dark and on the internet shows. So I like what's going on with AEW. I feel like AEW's got the momentum to become possibly the #1 wrestling show, but they're never going to unseat WWE. But WWE, it is apples and oranges. They're not selling the same thing. WWE is selling stocks and satisfying stockholders and providing content because Fox pays for content, Peacock pays for content. AEW is selling wrestling, and they're trying to draw ratings. And professional wrestling is what they're trying to sell us. So it's not fair to compare the two, but it's why AEW is going to succeed in the wrestling space. And they're doing everything they need to do right now to do that.
That's the best summarization I think I've heard of comparing the two companies. Because you see that so much where it's like, oh, I'm all for AEW, I'm all for WWE. People think it's the wrestling war. And I think the nostalgia of the concept of having a war, but I love how you articulated that with WWE's satisfying stockholders. AEW really is looking for the niche wrestling fan. And if you don't mind, I have one kind of observation off of that, going back to where we started the conversation talking about the NWA. And I think I'd be curious to get your take on this phrase. AEW embraces wrestling history. WWE tries to rewrite wrestling history. I wonder what your guys' thoughts are and kind of that quick synopsis. And then Henry, did you have something you wanted to add too? I know you were trying to chime in there.
I don't want to cut this off because I'm really enjoying this conversation. That being said, we've reached the end of the Ring of Honor match, and it is now time to begin our main event. With his return to WWE, Eddie Guerrero became a more heavily pushed superstar, and it would ultimately culminate into what we are about to watch, which is No Way Out 2004, the night he beats Brock Lesnar for his first and only reign as WWE champion. Before we go to No Way Out, however, because I firmly believe, like Eric Bischoff says, that context is king, I wanted a moment that sort of painted how we got here. The go-home edition of, I can't call it Friday Night SmackDown because in 2004 it was on Thursdays, but the go-home edition of SmackDown prior to No Way Out 2004 features a promo with Brock Lesnar and Eddie Guerrero to try to build heat for the main event at No Way Out. And it is, well, I'll be honest, it doesn't fit the times now. It wasn't something that really fit the times then for some of the things that we're about to see. And I apologize for that. I am not condoning what WWE did to push this angle. However, I believe it important, especially in light of the celebration that we are making today, to tell the full story of how Eddie Guerrero becomes WWE champion. And to do that, before we go to No Way Out 2004, if y'all could make your way into the Peacock and select Friday Night SmackDown, we are looking for Season 6, Episode number 7. From February the 12th, 2004, at a start time of 34 minutes and 3 seconds. Once we conclude the promo here, we will make our way to our main event, our final match of the day, which is Eddie Guerrero and Lesnar for the WWE title at No Way Out 3 days later.
What was that season again?
Season 6, Episode number 7.
See. Come on. Stupid cock.
This is why I just turned on my PlayStation and I can just kind of navigate with a controller. Because for whatever reason on my Roku TV, when I go to watch anything on Peacock, it'll go for half an hour and bloop, it goes back to the main menu.
Yep. Where's our timestamp?
34 minutes, 3 seconds. it should show either Kurt Angle being taken away on a gurney or a mariachi band in the ring, depending on how it syncs up.
Mariachi, got it.
Once everybody is ready,
I'm ready.
What's the time code again?
34 minutes, 3 seconds.
Okay. 1 second. Come on.
I think it's somewhat ironic, even though I'm sure it's just a coincidence, that tonight's AEW pay-per-view Full Gear is in the exact same city where 16 years ago today, Eddie Guerrero passed away.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh, that's.
Oh my
I
goodness,
didn't
I
even
didn't
think of
realize
that.
that.
You're right. The same venue too, Target Center. You wonder if, because Tony Khan does embrace wrestling history, do you think they'll mention something or do maybe a dedication on the pay-per-view?
Vicky and Chavo are both still employed by AEW, right?
Yep.
I believe
That
they
would
are.
make sense.
So we're
So
gonna
if-
do,
Have we all reached the appropriate time code?
Yes.
Got it.
All
Yes,
right.
Yes, ma'am.
In 3, 2, 1, play.
yeah. I mean, this doesn't age well, right?
It doesn't, but I felt it, as I said, I felt it necessary to kind of include this because it paints the picture of how we get to where we are. Because Eddie Guerrero doesn't hide the story of his struggle. Now, that being said, maybe the mariachi band was in a little bit of poor taste, but it gets us to where we're going.
Well,
And this part, mine started, I think I'm about 4 or 5 seconds behind. Brock Lesnar's coming out to the ring in a sombrero, dancing down to the ring with a gigantic smile on his face. I don't know that ages well either.
Well,
You know, I actually
Definitely definitely stereotyping.
and it's not the last thing they do, like with Mexicans. Remember later on this year?
Oh, the Metsicools.
No,
Mets-
that and JBL at the border.
Oh yeah, with the feud with Eddie.
oh, that's heat, brother. That's heat.
I do want to say I came up with the idea for this particular concept because of a show that we did a few weeks back with Josh Chernoff, which is available in our archives, where we went over a bunch of different Bret Hart matches. And when I realized that today was the day of Eddie Guerrero's passing, and I've heard Antonio talk so much about how he likes Eddie Guerrero, this idea just kind of clicked and went into place. And then the process just became putting it together. Now, this is by no means an exhaustive list of Eddie Guerrero's best matches. At some point, maybe in the future, I feel like it would be worth revisiting some of his other lesser-known matches, kind of like we did today with Ring of Honor. But I will honestly say that the concept idea here tells what I believe, based on all of the input I've had from everybody that I got help from to put this together. I believe this tells a compelling story as Brock Lesnar gets ready to start the mariachi band here from almost said Friday Night SmackDown again. God damn it. That bothers me. I get that they label it that way because that's the way they do it now. But for like 10 years, this was the Thursday show. And then for a while, I think it was the Tuesday show on USA before it moved to Fox.
Yes, it was. It was. It's had many incarnations. It started on Thursdays, went to Fridays, then went back to Tuesdays, and then ultimately ended up being live on Tuesdays, and then back to Fridays again.
There goes Eddie.
It's got to be a pain in the ass to slide out of the ring holding a bigger instrument like that cello.
I forget how entertaining Brock Lesnar can be.
Oh yeah.
His comedic. Remember when he was Money in the Bank a few years ago in the Brock box?
Yes.
That was gold right there.
I like him better in a comedic form than because I honestly think he's having fun doing some of the stuff. Like I know everybody says he's got this persona and all that, but yeah.
Well, I like how they do it now, like where they don't give him like too much of Brock, but when he says something or does something, it's big.
I agree.
I will
it
say
did
that
take
it
me
seems
a while. Oh, go ahead.
some of the legends that they bring back have absolutely no business whatsoever being in a wrestling ring and trying to wrestle. Goldberg. But that being said, the way that they use Brock Lesnar and they bring him back, the way they do that with him, the way they do that with Edge, I do kind of like that because Brock can still go. And it's nice to just once in a while for a change of pace to see him come back and try to compete.
It took me a while to get used to the man bun. I'm not going to lie. It's hard for me to look at Brock Lesnar with the man bun.
When he came back for his most recent stint where he wrestled Roman Reigns the last pay-per-view, it was hard for me to look at him because he looked a lot like a country farmer, which I think is actually what he does when he's not working with WWE.
No, he is a farmer. He grew up on a farm, I think, in Webster. I want to say maybe Webster, South Dakota.
I was told that's his everyday attire, that he shows up at the arena and goes to the ring. That's not put on for wrestling time. That's how he showed up. That's what he wears in public.
That. Yeah. Well, he used to remember. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Money Mike.
Oh, I didn't know Palmwater was going to say anything. I was just going to say, I remember when he first came back in 2012, he wore sweatpants, like the same kind that I wear. He would literally just wear sweatpants and a t-shirt to the ring.
Henry, do you want to move to the main event?
I will here in just a bit because I do want to include all of this because the way I time coded the main event, I cut out everything except the entrances.
Yeah, I was going to say you probably don't need the entrances in it. We can go right to the match.
Yeah, that'll be moving up the time code a little bit.
Yeah, I'm working on that for you right now.
Thank you.
Pondwater, I think that's funny though. That's what he wears to the he just shows up at the arena.
That's his everyday attire.
Yep.
He seems like the type I honestly almost want to see him get I don't know why, but I just have this thing. I want to see him maybe get agitated just to see that in public because I think that could be an interesting sight.
Well, go talk to him in public and see what happens.
I don't think I would agitate him that much.
Well, it depends.
He seems like he could be a bit of an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hated this belt. When they came out with it. But man, I have become such a fan of that belt.
This
the undisputed.
Yeah.
The undisputed is my favorite. I prefer it to the spinner. I love this version, the WWE undisputed belt.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but when they did the whole undisputed championship gimmick, I think I personally preferred Big Gold and the Big Eagle.
Oh yeah,
together. And when I get why they ultimately did away with that because they were going with one undisputed champion, and it makes sense to have the one belt. But for nostalgic purposes, having the WCW Big Gold and the WWE Big Eagle were an impressive sight, I think.
Well, and the Big Eagle's my favorite of the WWE belts.
Yep, same here.
I have that right, don't I? The Big Eagle was the one that replaced the belt that they used for 10 years.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I do mix that up sometimes. That's why I ask.
It first appeared with blue leather and the WWF block logo, and then it was replaced with when they
Black
became
leather
WWE.
and the scratch logo.
Right.
And I think, unless I'm wrong, Austin introduced Big Eagle, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes. Wasn't that also part of the corporate champion gimmick too?
Right. Austin.
Yes.
I think Austin and Kane are the only ones that held it while it was blue.
Yeah. I love, that's one of my favorite promos. The Austin, when they make Austin come out in the suit. I think that is such an underrated promo.
I have that picture behind my Big Eagle. Austin's got a suit on, wearing a hat.
Yeah. Awesome.
And but I can't have the shelf over there, and behind the shelf, I did a 16 by 20 screenshot. I did a screenshot and had it printed on a 16 by 20 and use it as a backdrop behind my belts on the shelves.
The belt collecting has been so much. It's expensive but fun.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything authentic like Conrad does, but
Me either.
It's still been really fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Henry, where we at, brother?
Shit. Give me a minute.
Oh,
here.
that sounds promising.
My technology suddenly stopped cooperating with me all at the same time. I'm a little bit surprised that the internet didn't just kick out too.
Thank the good Lord, I'm not
That,
the
that would
only
be
one
my
that had
luck.
tech issues
We
this
get toward the
episode.
very end of the show, and all of a sudden the internet just dies, and Frank's stuck trying to bring this all back in together. How much?
I mean, I have a time code for the main event if you'd like.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and distribute that out, this has got about another 2 minutes by my count. And once that's done, we will go to our main event, which is No Way Out 2004, Season 6, Episode number 1, from February the 15th, 2004. Our last match of the day, I actually think this timed out to be the longest, which surprised me given the fact that the ECW and the AAA matches both seemed like they took forever. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just I'm not used to watching Eddie Guerrero matches that take 25, 30 minutes because that wasn't something I ever really remembered him much for.
Your time code on that. So, like Henry said, Season 6, Episode 1, time code, we're going to start at 156 even, 156 and 00. That's right as the referee is getting ready to ring the bell. So you let me know, Henry, when we hit. By far, this is one of my favorite Eddie matches because you finally felt like Vince was saying maybe the little guys could have it too.
Yeah.
See, the one thing I never understood, and Vince, I think, got it better than Eric Bischoff did. I get in WCW, it was the land of the giants. You had Hulk Hogan, you had Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Goldberg. I, for the life of me, never understood why a guy like Eddie Guerrero or a guy like Chris Jericho or Rey Mysterio Jr., I never understood why those guys weren't given shots, even if they never held the belt. I never understood why a Hulk Hogan or a Goldberg or anybody else that held that belt from the time Hogan came to WCW in 94 on, I never understood why those guys never got a shot. You always saw it with Randy Savage and Ric Flair and Sting and Lex Luger. I love Lex Luger to death. Lex Luger is not my idea of a world champion in 1997. Eddie Guerrero, on the other hand, was my idea of a world champion even back then. Because as he gets to the end here, I haven't yet made my way. You said we were starting at 156 even for No Way Out 04? Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm sitting here talking and my mic's on mute. Yeah. 156 even. 156 even.
Even if I were looking up Frank, I can't read lips.
Frank, are you talking into that Efren trophy again?
No, what it is he's telling the Adam from Bama story about how he got lucky in Jacksonville, and he just didn't realize that the mic wasn't on, and he just hold on just a second. I'll be right back. There's apparently somebody at my front door. Frank, if you wanna start the episode, I'll catch up with you in just a second.
Can't hear you, Frank.
God damn it! I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, so I'm just so happy I'm not the only one that had some tech issues this week.
No, there's a button here that you push the mic. See?
Yeah.
Don't push.
When it blinks, it's muted. So we're at 156 even. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1, and play. Referee is ringing the bell, and I see now my sound is on.
Yep.
Right sakes.
This is
I think something we haven't talked about enough this episode is look at Eddie Guerrero's his facial expressions. Those tell the true story in any Eddie Guerrero match.
That was the one thing I noticed a lot while you guys were having your discussion and during the Ring of Honor match. I found it to me to be kind of it's amazing to see what facial expressions can really do to move a match, I think.
Yeah, I've noticed it with Eddie in almost every match that we've watched, and I wanted to make sure that I brought it up.
I have to say, cauliflower ears are disgusting. Did you just get a belt there, Henry?
Yeah, what'd you
Well, sort of. Give me a second to catch up with you guys, and I will explain what's in the box.
Is it a
I
box?
should have started this show with puppies. That's the one thing I forgot to do with this show, and that was a rope shooting moment. And I forgot that No Way Out starts with Tori Wilson and Sable coming out to the ring, and it's just so beautiful.
Rise.
But it didn't fit the theme, so I didn't really think about it. And now, as I'm trying to fast forward to catch up with you guys, because the post office dropped something off I wasn't expecting to see until Monday, I'm kicking myself in the ass a little bit for that one.
Is it
I'm not
maple
gonna lie.
syrup? Is it
We
maple
did talk
syrup?
about some ropes. We spent a lot of time analyzing the ring ropes.
Which I was gonna say that the ring ropes in AEW when I was there at the show, because I keep mentioning that, seemed extremely loose to me. There's a lot of
Yeah, they're probably cable. If I had to guess, they're probably cable, whereas WWE I know uses real rope.
Do they? I don't.
I believe that because actually, it's a Brock Lesnar story. He said that like one of the first days that he was in OVW, he was used to training with, I think it was Brad Rangens up in Minnesota, and Brad had an old WCW ring that was cables like AEW, and WWE actually uses real rope. I don't know, Pond Water. In the time that you were refereeing, did you ever encounter different types of like cables versus actual rope, and did you ever have a preference? And I know that's kind of a granular question, but I didn't know if you had any experience with those.
I've seen them. I've had it both. Rope and cable. I like them when they're just wrapped up with tape. I don't like when they try to put a hose over them and tape them. They both hurt, guys. I mean,
And so, have you ran the ropes?
Yes.
He trained
And
to
then-
be a
oh, that's right. You trained.
Frank, you're getting old.
Shut up.
I've been through the training, and when you first start training, hitting those ropes, you're bruised. I mean, they bruise you. They bruise you bad.
Wow.
Running knee from Brock Lesnar? Wow.
Everybody, this is the point where everyone's like, oh, that fake sport wrestling. But then we have these stories here where an actual trained performer is telling us how bad the ring ropes hurt. So is it really fake, or is it just an art to some people? I mean, I don't know.
It's predetermined. It's not. I mean, they're throwing live rounds, and if you don't know how to take that live round, it becomes a live round. I mean, when they throw a punch, like if I'm going to get hit in the jaw, if I don't bump, it's going to hurt.
Right.
I
So
mean,
you gotta-
it's
right.
It's close. It's not fair to call it. It's not fair to call it fake. The stuff that's fake doesn't hurt that bad. Now, I mean, last night when Matt Hardy dropped an elbow on Orange Cassidy and he landed in a separate county and didn't even get close to him. Now that didn't hurt.
Was that noticeable? I haven't watched Rampage yet.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
very noticeable. Very noticeable.
I mean, but that's going to happen. HD television's not their friend.
No.
Oh God, no! I wanted to tell you too. Like, when you sit ringside at a show, you notice some things too. And there was
Getting
a
front
couple
row
of times-
seats. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, please say it. Say it.
Getting front row seats to the wrestling matches in 1984 was probably the worst thing that I could have ever done. Because I looked up and I saw Mike Von Erich cut his own forehead not Mike Von Erich. I saw Jake Roberts' blade from the front row when Mike Von Erich used the Iron Claw for the first time.
Oh wow!
So, I mean, I saw it, and then I was like, "Oh man, I'm sitting too close."
Pondwater, it seems like you were at so many legendary moments.
Yeah.
Pondwater Dave is a legend.
From 82, stop it. From 82 to go ahead, more. No, from 82 to 88, if it was big in world class wrestling, I was there for it.
That's cool. That's
I mean, I didn't miss a big show. So
now that I finally have the toy out of the box.
Whoa. You got a dildo?
If I did, do you honestly think that I'd be doing it on this show live in front of the 6 people that are currently watching us right now?
I don't know. Probably.
I actually today want to give a shout out to a friend of ours who I don't know that we've had on in a while, if ever. Good friend of ours, James Sorensen, actually sent me this. It is the prize that we are watching being fought for in this match.
Holy
shit, bro.
Nice.
That could not have been timed better.
I wasn't expecting this until Monday because the post office hadn't delivered it with the rest of the mail. Which was why when the doorbell suddenly rang, I'm like, the fuck? I have a doorbell?
Yeah, that literally could not have been timed better.
I'm actually glad that this arrived today because I can reveal what I want to do with it. You'll notice it's probably kind of hard to see because I have a very fat head and I'm taking up most of the screen. The nameplate down here is blank.
Yeah.
I'm having, once I figure out how I want to do it, I'm going to have a special nameplate for this made. And then this belt is going with me for one trip. Next week, I am going to New York for an anime convention where I'm going to try to rep Top Guy Theater as Henry Two Belts. With my big gold that's sitting right here.
Oh, I thought you were going as Maple Man.
Oh boy. Oh, he froze. Or is it just me?
Huh?
Who?
Oh, maybe it was me that was freezing. Sorry.
I think it was just you, Frank.
Okay, love you all.
I'm having a hard time with finding a nameplate for mine, so I'm gonna have my wife. Make some black vinyl letters to put on mine.
Nice.
I may end up possibly doing that too. But Antonio, once I come back from New York and I figure out what to do with the nameplate, this belt is yours.
For real?
When I explained the concept of the show that I'm doing or that we were doing today to James, and I explained to him at the same time that I was looking for a second belt to take with me because unfortunately, I'll let the rabbit out of the hat because this is a fairly long match. So give me just a minute here. My intent for my trip next week, we've all seen A Princess Bride, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I have.
I was about to say, I feel like that might be a movie that Frank's never seen, which is why I asked that question.
I've never seen it either.
Have you seen the adult parody of it?
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, wow.
Is Andre the Giant in that too?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've never seen the full movie.
But you know that Andre the Giant's in it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's good enough. The one person who I always felt deserved a chance to hold this that never got to because by the time he finally made it back to the NWA WCW, he was in no shape to wrestle anymore, was the man who held the Winged Eagle version of that belt for about 45 seconds, Andre the Giant. And I decided that I wanted to do a dress up where I dressed up like Andre the Giant's character from A Princess Bride while repping an undisputed champion gimmick.
Nice.
Which, unfortunately, because things being what they are, especially since Fandu screwed up the nameplate on this belt, which is why Antonio keeps calling me the Maple Man. Before I do anything else with this one is coming with me to New York as my second belt. But once that's done, I felt when I went back and made my final decision to put this as our main event, that this, rightly or wrongly to me, for the purposes of this show and this show only, so that way I don't catch a ton of heat, is the way we cap off Eddie's career. Now, Eddie wrestles after this for another 17 months before he loses his life in November of 2005. He would lose the WWE title after WrestleMania to JBL. Antonio referenced that. There was a whole thing. It was incredibly racist and just awful. And he would never again get back to the height of being world champion. Though it was rumored that before he died, they were beginning a push to make him world champion, which unfortunately, because of his untimely passing, never happened. And my thought process with this, it takes a big person to... What the fuck was that?
Hold on.
The tribal beef has to pick up his beef burrito.
Apparently there was a horn.
I'll be right back.
All right. I'm going to hold that thought then for a second until he comes back. And we're looking at a technical masterpiece here, I'd almost say. At least in the first few minutes.
And I think the thing people forget, in my opinion, because of the way he wrestles now with, say, the shorter matches, MMA style, is Brock Lesnar was a very good and well-trained technical wrestler. I wonder if you guys have any thoughts on that.
Wait, am I mute? Or did I freeze? What happened?
Okay,
you were muted.
I'm back.
Ah, of course I was. For fuck's sake.
I'm back.
Welcome back there, Beef Burrito.
Beef
I think that he was a good technical wrestler, but I think that they wanted him to come in and be the beast, right? So he probably...
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
Henry
probably lost... What?
Henry fall asleep.
I think he
muted.
froze. Oh,
there he is.
He moved.
Sorry about that.
He moved. Yeah, I mean, Lesnar knew how to go. I think it was just how they wanted him portrayed, right? That's really what it came down to.
Oh, no, exactly. What were you going to say, Henry? Before Antonio left?
Before Antonio left because he set off his car alarm. That's what it was.
No.
To me, doing what you've done and making it a full year is something that is challenging in all walks of life, whether you're trying to stop drinking, stop smoking, whatever. And I believe, in my mind, to me, you're a hero because you saw that you had a problem and you decided to take the steps that needed to be taken to fix it. When Eddie Guerrero won this belt at the end of this match, spoiler, in case anybody hasn't actually watched this yet.
Wait, he did?
Shit, you don't know that? When Eddie Guerrero won this, it became... I'm trying to think of the word I want. Because I had this in my head a second ago, and then the car alarm disrupted my train of thought badly enough that I'm trying to get it back.
Symbolic.
Thank you, Money Mike. This belt was symbolic to Eddie Guerrero of everything that he had tried to accomplish throughout his career. And honestly, I can think of no better person to hold on to this once I have it finished up than you, my friend. Because you've made it a year. And we hope like hell that you keep going and turn 1 year into 2, 2 years into 5, 5 years into 10. And this hopefully is a symbol of a good start.
Oh, thank you, man. Like, wow.
That's incredible.
Man, that's nice.
Incredible. That was a beautiful moment, honestly.
I ain't gonna kiss you, though. I ain't gonna kiss you.
I don't need you to do that. In fact, if that's a precondition of me giving you a belt, I'm giving you the world heavyweight title that they've screwed up. Yes.
Well, thank you, man.
A beautiful moment that has made me cry because they just announced that Julio Jones went on the injured reserve list.
Oh, wow.
So,
I'm sorry to hear that, Henry.
It's for 3 weeks, but still.
Oh, I thought it was like a season-ending injury.
No, but still, it's like without Henry, like What the fuck?
Do we now? The key question: do we play the Titans during the time frame he'll be off?
No, we did that already. They're not the division team, so we don't get to play them twice.
No, if Tennessee keeps playing the way they're playing, and Buffalo,
You know, this is the office. We play the Patriots in that time frame, and I'm going to be at that game.
We get the Falcons tomorrow.
I think I picked Dallas on that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to be obnoxious about that one.
Pondwater, you need to tweet at Lauren the entire game.
No, I think
no, that's too much.
No, I think Eddie got that covered.
Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, Eddie wants to be a heel. Well, oh Jesus, he is a heel.
Yeah,
my lord, that poor dude. He's got to tone it down a bit. We know we love you, Eddie. You always watch, but
yeah,
dude.
Yeah, but quit pandering to her.
Oh, Lord.
Jesus Christ, there are only two people in this world that are allowed to pander to Lauren, other than her husband. And one of them is here with us this afternoon.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's cut out that gimmick infringement.
You're it.
Oh, no.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so it's your husband, Pondwater, then me.
We forgot Eric Bischoff.
And all this.
Oh yeah.
Eric panders to nobody.
Yeah,
that's true. It's the other way around.
Just to clarify, Lauren, if you're watching, these are their views, not mine. I'm staying neutral.
Oh, stop pandering to her.
He's pandering.
Jesus Christ.
God almighty.
Oh my God. Oh God.
I don't pander to anybody.
Oh yeah, says Charlotte's Twitter page.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Hey, she's my queen. And speaking of which, Pondwater, I love the Charlotte Flair wall.
Thank you.
Don't rob them though.
I just ordered the updated nameplate last night.
Excellent.
They put them on sale, so I ordered them.
Nice.
You know, that gentleman in the hat there that keeps holding up the WCW US belt, I wonder where he found that.
Figures Inc.
Yeah.
Figures Inc. had the WCW belt out.
Is that still? Do they still?
Probably not. WWE's starting to reintroduce them into their shop.
Yeah, WWE has them.
I think WWE sells replicas, don't they?
But for this year,
of the WCW United States Championship,
I thought they did at one point, but I could be wrong.
I thought they just
they
brought it
started
back.
selling the WCW US not that long ago.
Yeah, it was the 3-plate version.
yeah, I want the 5-er.
Oh, and this guy in the crowd, everybody. I mean, that wasn't uncommon. And this was 2004.
Gonna say with
That's
the Eddie Guerrero
definitely
promo, there was a guy sitting there with a world heavyweight title belt, and the light was catching it off the camera. I'm surprised somebody didn't go over there and make him put that down.
It wouldn't have been uncommon for somebody to have a copy of the WCW title in this year. I mean, it could have been a Midwest version.
Hold up. Are we sure it was? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But it also was a belt that was available by Figures Inc. in the early 2000s. So that's probably what it was. It was pretty common.
Well, the
all
one thing
Eddie
I wanted
has
to
to
say
do is roll them over here, and it's a 1, 2, 3, and it's over.
Well, the one thing I wanted to say, and I apologize, Pondwater, for interrupting you if I did, but I was going to say, at that time, couldn't that have been the WWE's World Heavyweight title? Because that was introduced about a year and a half prior to this. So is it possible?
It's possible that it could have been a replica, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because that looks very similar to the big gold. The only difference there is they have the W etched at the top.
Oh yeah, they introduced those. They introduced those at WrestleMania 17. So after that, you could get whatever was available at the concession stand, or the gimmick table, whatever you want to call it.
You could get replica WCW belts at WrestleMania 17.
Not WCW. They had unveiled the Intercontinental and the Big Eagle.
Okay.
Those are the two that they had unveiled at WrestleMania 17. because I got mine the week before because I was walking around with the world belts and my brother was walking around with the Intercontinental.
Did you go to
And
WrestleMania 17?
I did.
That's awesome.
I lived in Dallas, so driving down to Houston wasn't a big deal.
That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, how was that? Like 4 hours away?
Yeah, 4 or 5 at the most. Not a bad drive to Houston.
My father is a huge fan of the show Dallas, so he's always wanted to just go to Dallas. And I'm like, well, if I'm gonna go to Texas, I want to go see a Rockets game, even though they're horrible right now. So I was trying to figure out the span between the two, and I think I mapped it one time, like between like Toyota Center to Dallas was like 4.5, I think.
Yeah, and there's a toll road now. There's a toll road that you can take that'll let you drive 85 legally.
Oh wow!
Oh my God! Really?
Yes.
85.
And if you wanted to drive you definitely want to take the toll road to avoid that highway, to avoid 45.
Okay. All right.
But you can visit you can visit South Fork Ranch.
Yeah,
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at how small it is compared to what it looks like on Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely on one of my father's lists. So I got to get him down there. I got to get him down there big time. So I did want to add. I know I'm kind of bringing up something that's going to happen in the future, but was any of us surprised that Goldberg had anything to do with this match?
They were building toward an angle with that match at WrestleMania that universally was the worst match of WrestleMania 20. I don't know of anybody that will stand up and say that match wasn't the single biggest dumpster fire of what was otherwise a fantastic WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of get it. I wish they hadn't, because I feel like it takes away from this, but I get it. It does, from a story perspective, it makes sense.
Well, if you wouldn't have known, if it wasn't so public that both guys were leaving, it probably would have been a much better match.
Right. Couldn't you tell? I mean, I knew going into that show too. Couldn't you tell they just both didn't seem to give a shit?
Yeah. And I've always been pissed at Brock Lesnar for using the platform to announce that he was leaving before the match. I think he should have waited till after the match.
Yes.
Yep.
I think he actually hurt the match by making that announcement.
But I think they made up that match by WrestleMania 33 with them two.
By then, who really wanted to see Bill Goldberg wrestle? And for the record, I am not shitting on Goldberg. His run in WCW, arguably for better or for worse, we go back to Bash at the Beach 98 for just a second. Some 6 short days prior to that, Little Nate referees a match between Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Bill Goldberg from the Georgia Dome, where Bill Goldberg wins this belt. And it is arguably one of the best matches for the world title they ever had on Monday Nitro. But
I still get excited when Goldberg comes around, and it's organic. I mean, it's like I'm surprised that I still get excited for Goldberg. Now, I will admit that his match against The Undertaker was a flaming turd.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got that right.
That was just. I mean, I'm for them all continuing to go until they embarrass themselves. And at that point, I thought both of them really did not come off well in that match, but Goldberg particularly. But I mean, for him to just come down and do Goldberg things, I still like the entrance. I don't know. It still hits me in the feels.
I could see that. I really was a big fan when he came back and did that run late 16, first part of 17, because it was just, to me, that was the perfect way to end the story. And I thought the story behind it was a father proving something to his son, which I thought was very relatable. Like, that's the thing, I think, when it goes to wrestling, and even tying this all back into Eddie Guerrero, when it's an organic story that people can get behind, that's how you get people to invest.
I think the promo that we watched earlier with Brock and Eddie, when Eddie does his bit and talks about the lows that he hits and the highs that he gets inside that ring, as you can kind of see right now within this match. I would almost go so far as to say, I honestly think one of the best wrestling promos I've ever heard is Dusty Rhodes when he's talking about hard times. I would say that Eddie's actually one-ups that a little bit. Mostly because there's more realism in wrestling in 2004 than there was back in the 80s. And if one was addicted to something in the 80s, that's not something one would publicly talk about. It took a lot of guts for Eddie Guerrero to do that and to tell his story the way he wanted to. And it all ties back into what, honestly, we've watched a lot of good wrestling today. There has not been a bad match of any of these. Well, except maybe for that Stevie Ray Chavo Guerrero match that probably should have got cut out. But but I would go so far as to argue that this is the best match of the card.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to watch that ECW match with Malenko. I want to show that to my grandkids.
Yeah.
What I was trying to find and I couldn't was their last match, because that's a 2 out of 3 falls match, I think, that ends in a draw, and it's the very last one before both of them go to WCW. And when I couldn't lay my hands on that one, I went with the Hostile City Showdown match. And that was a fantastic match. Like I said, when you think of ECW, you think Weapons, you think New Jack, you think the Dudleys, Rob Van Dam. But it was a good match.
It was incredible. Incredible match.
I think the one you were looking for, Henry, is the Guerrero Malenko Classic, if I'm not mistaken.
What event was it on?
I don't know. It might have not be a pay-per-view, but I do think if you look up Guerrero Malenko Classic, that might be what you were originally thinking of.
Oh, here he comes.
There's Goldberg.
Boom.
Despite
I completely forgot that happened in this match.
Yeah.
I remember it being. I thought he was like in the crowd.
Yeah,
So
it was like
I don't.
it was an angle earlier in the evening where they show him in the crowd, and Paul Heyman came out and got him arrested.
Oh, all right. So I wasn't. All right.
Yeah, no, because Steve Austin gave him the ticket on Monday.
Yep. They told him, "Don't do what I want to do."
It's funny. I can remember the stuff that happened 35 years ago, but the stuff that happened this close, I don't remember all of it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm the same way. I can look back at
like
things
I
that
remember
happened
all
in 88, 89, 90, 91, like my childhood. But like now, some of the stuff that goes on now, I'm like, oh, that happened. I don't remember that. Like so.
Like I can remember everything from the Attitude Era.
I remember everything like 08 to 2012 because that was my peak fandom.
I would go so far as to say that of all of the matches that we've previewed today, the AAA event would probably be kind of hard to do a full deep dive on because I don't know where you'd find the whole thing. But of the other shows that we've covered today, I'd be happy to go back and do a deep dive on just about any of them.
Yeah.
I agree.
Except maybe Bash at the Beach 98 because I really don't want to watch Hogan and DDP
I
wrestle with Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone because that was just a stupid angle. And
I would love to watch the Custody of Dominic ladder match.
I actually thought about including it here, believe it or not. I got talked out of that.
Yeah.
It was SummerSlam 05, right?
Yeah.
That would be a good one to watch the entire show of because that's got Hogan HBK. That's got, I think, Orton Undertaker, Batista JBL, and Cena Jericho. So that's a good card with a lot of good storytelling.
Like Eddie versus JBL at Judgment Day.
Your throat, even if I have to go home and get him out of the glass first.
Yeah, like Eddie versus JBL at Judgment Day and the Great American Bash. Great matches.
Oh, yeah, that was the bull rope match where they had to call Dusty Rhodes to get the finish.
Yep.
Is that Brian Hebner?
Yep.
I do believe it is.
2.
Wow.
Wow, that was good.
See, Bell thinks so too.
That still gets me every
That was
time.
good. You were asking about ref bumps. I've taken that F5 before.
Oh wow!
It's a
From who?
Taken the F5.
His name was Franco D'Angelo.
Wow.
And I had run in after a lot of interference. I'd run in and they'd done all this stuff, and he had the guy pinned forever, and there wasn't a referee to count. But then when he got screwed over, I come flying into the ring, count the 3, and anyway, they were trying to explain everything, and he gave me the F5 and or whatever he was calling it, and I'm laying there face down, and the crowd was chanting, "He deserved it."
Oh my God!
And I'm trying not to smile because I think it was the first time I'd ever felt real heat, and I loved it. It was such a great moment.
Man, I remember I was going nuts when he won this. Like, oh my God, yes.
I was too. I didn't think. I didn't know. I had no idea. I didn't think it was going to happen.
I don't think no one expected Eddie to win that match. They expected the Rock Goldberg match for the title.
I don't think so, only because it was public knowledge that they were both leaving. Why would you put the belt on Goldberg?
No, not at this point. It wasn't.
No.
Not at this point.
Yeah.
Actually, as time had passed, I honestly forgot that Eddie didn't win it at WrestleMania when Benoit won it. Because of that moment with both of them at WrestleMania 20.
Oh, right. Yeah. Eddie defended it against Angle. That's the one where I think Angle, he like loosened his boot.
Yeah.
And Angle tried to put the thing on, he wiggled out of it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That was good.
The ankle lock finish into the roll up.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. That was Henry. You did a great job. You did a great job, brother.
I think in closing, well, let's go around the room with those of us who are left. We've started with a bigger number than what we're finishing with. I think this time I want to start with you, Antonio. What did you think?
It just made me miss Eddie more. Like, all his matches I enjoyed. Just like, plus his story is like, I mean, his stuff was worse, but I could feel like what he went through to get where he got at this point.
Money Mike?
I really, really enjoyed this. I've been fortunate enough to be on Top Guy Theater a few times, and this by far has been my favorite episode in terms of the topics we discussed, the matches we watched, and I think I was trying to think of a common theme, and I think what it is we always say it, but wrestling brings people together, and I think that was apparent in all of the matches that Eddie Guerrero had. He was a true wrestler that connected with the fans, with his coworkers, and in everything we watched today. It was wonderful getting to talk to all of you and all of our run-ins, and I just want to end again by saying, Antonio, I'm so proud of you for your year of sobriety, and all of you on this call I consider to be very good friends, and thank you all so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Pondwater Dave?
Man, I'm telling you, I came on today for you, Antonio. Phil reached out and said, "Oh, absolutely. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, man.
That you recognized it and that you stuck to it. And I've watched you and all the anniversaries that, hey, it's been this long. It's been this long. And then I've noticed that your friends started pointing it out. Hey, it's been this long. It's been this long. And man, I just from the bottom of my heart, I'm so proud of you, brother, that you've been able to put this behind you and stick with it. And I told the guys in the group chat I was coming on today, and Eric Rottencrotch wanted me to make sure you knew that he's how proud of you he is, also. And I really enjoyed being here today, and so much of my wrestling fandom, I go back and I watch old NWA, and I go back in the 80s and early 90s, and I'd forgotten what a great performer Eddie Guerrero was and a great storyteller. So being part of this today, getting to watch Eddie, he's larger than life with his storytelling, and he plays so big that he's not just performing for the front row, he's performing for the guys in the back. his movements are so big and his storytelling so excellent that I've gotten so much out of just being able to go back and be reminded of how great a performer he was. So I'm so happy that I got to be a part of this today.
Frank,
thank you.
You know, I've gotten into this in the past, and I won't get into it again. But you know, I've had my own problems with weight and things like that. That led me to have to make a tough decision as well. That made me have to decide: do I want to, you know? Again, I've gone back and told people I had a stroke when I was 37. I spent my 38th birthday in a hospital bed. I've had to have procedure done on my heart. I've had Bell's palsy. And those incidents made me realize that I needed to make a decision to live or die, and that led me to have my gastric sleeve surgery. So what I can relate to with Antonio is having that moment where you are like, oh shit, I've got a problem, I need to fix it. So Antonio, I was there for you before. I remember and know what you were talking about.
Yeah,
I know just what you were talking about, and I've been there and supported you since, and I'm just so happy we've gotten to this point where we're having this conversation on this show today. And I just want to thank Henry for putting together a masterful set of matches for us to go back and look at. So I love you all.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, Frank. And I think in closing, I want to say two things. I first want to thank the people that did run-ins today. I want to thank Amy. I want to thank Adam from Bama, Paul Bromwell, Lauren Yaffe, even Phil Jackson. I'm sorry that you couldn't be here for the whole thing, Phil. I really do think you would have enjoyed it, and I hope that once this comes up, because we're going to try to get this out right around the 1-year anniversary of Antonio's sobriety. It'll be a special bonus episode of Top Guy Theater, and though this ran a little long compared to what we've been doing in the past, I really do hope you'll enjoy it, guys. I also want to give a shout out to one of our other co-hosts, Brandy Wagner. She unfortunately was unable to be with us today, and a friend of the show, Doug McLeod. Both of them helped pitch ideas for this show too, as did Phil, as did Frank. The only person that didn't in this group, other than Pondwater Dave, I think was Antonio, and I kept this from him as long as I possibly could because I wanted to maximize the surprise value.
Nice.
Eddie Guerrero, unfortunately, would lose his life in the very city that AEW is holding its Full Gear pay-per-view in tonight, 16 years ago today. The world of professional wrestling, I think, would be a different place if he were still here now. And in closing, I want to say rest in peace to Eddie Guerrero. And I want to say congratulations to you, Antonio. You've made it a year. Now let's try to keep going a little bit further.
Yep.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our show today. For those of us who are still here, for Money Mike McClanahan, for Pondwater Dave, Rope Shooter Antonio Santos, Blitzkrieg Frank Bruno, as well as Phil Jackson, Brandy Wagner, though they weren't here today, Mike Cole, James Quello, TJ Stevens, thank you for the run-in. I wasn't really expecting that, but man, you are welcome back in our fold anytime you want. For all of you, I'm the Map It Man. And fuck me. And I lost my train of thought again. This has been Top Guy Theater.
All right, I'm running the outro now.
14 WrestleManias.
A leg drop, an elbow smash, a body slam.
Are you ready to fight? Who will survive?
Goodbye. Later. Out.